Speak with your manners, Yimo's not someone you can talk about. Zhen Bingyu's face sunk immediately hearing Feng Tizuya talk shit about Yimo. Speak with your manners, Yimo's not someone you can talk about. Zhen Bingyu's face sunk immediately hearing Feng Tizuya talk shit about Yimo. Haha, I want this female immortal too. Feng Tizuya, you can piss off. Seeing that you brought me to this female immortal, leave the thing and I won't kill you today. That Gong Zhishang Great Eternity immortal laughed. Zhen Bingyu was already annoyed, and now that Gong Zhishang said this, she immediately got triggered. Her immortal kingdom eye exploded and at the same time slapped with an immortal essence giant hand. Immortal King Master, Gong Zhishang said in shock, but the next moment he was slapped flying by Zhen Bingyu. His entire row of teeth fell, and this was Zhen Bingyu showing mercy. He was confused for not being able to see Zhen Bingyu's cultivation level, but seeing Feng Tizuya not so polite to her, he knew that Zhen Bingyu's cultivation level wasn't higher than his. Until he was slapped away, he realized that Zhen Bingyu was an immortal king. Piss off! Zhen Bingyu yelled. Gong Zhishang didn't dare to say no at all. He quickly bowed and left. It was his huge luck that he could still survive after offending an immortal king master. Feng Tizuya stared dazedly at Zhen Bingyu and said in equal shock, You're already an immortal king Qianbei. When he first saw Zhen Bingyu, she was at most abstruse immortal tertiary stage, but it's only been these years and she was immortal king. How did she cultivate? Yimo said you're a good person, so I'll help you once today. If you dare to be rude to me again, I'll kill you straight away. Piss off. Zhen Bingyu said. Feng Tizuya realized that the person with Zhen Bingyu was called Yimo. He quickly bowed. Yes, Qianbei will leave now immediately. No matter how powerful his background was, Zhen Bingyu could crush him with one finger here. Plus, Zhen Bingyu had been the person he loved. He didn't get the Chaos Blue Reed before, so he went around to find Zhen Bingyu, but he wasn't able to find her. Seeing the two leave, Zhen Bingyu quickly left. With her immortal king power, she came to Chaos Star Realm Level 1 in less than 2 weeks. When her spirit sense scanned Extreme Star Swamp, she couldn't resist landing there. She started collaborating here with Yimo, and the two had been together ever since until Yimo went to Yuanla Heaven. The place had very little immortal spirit Kai, and one's cultivation level would be suppressed inside. Usually, people wouldn't come here, but Zhen Bingyu found a low-level immortal here running out. This immortal was only Golden Immortal Primary Stage. There was very little Golden Immortal Primary Stage immortals in the Chaos Star Realms. Even Zhen Bingyu only knew Yimo. After all these years, she saw a second one. She immediately had some good impression of this person. She seemed to saw Yimo's fighting spirit on him. Qianbei. This Golden Immortal Primary Stage came to the border of Extreme Star Swamp and saw Zhen Bingyu stare at him. He quickly looked down and bowed while his heart thumped quickly. There was such a perfect woman in the world. This was the first time he saw a female immortal this beautiful. What's your name? Zhen Bingyu looked at this skinny golden immortal and asked. She saw Yimo on this Golden Immortal Primary Stage. The Golden Immortal bowed. WN Bei Dongfang Wang. What does Qianbei need WN Bei for? WN Bei is willing to help. Zhen Bingyu smiled. I don't need you to help me with anything yet, but seeing you made me think of some things. This storage ring is for you, good luck. Zhen Bingyu left a storage ring and disappeared. Dongfang Wang grabbed the storage ring Zhen Bingyu gave him dazedly. Ever since going to the cultivation realm, he knew that 90% of cultivators were selfish. He was able to reach this state today because he had brains and he never gave what he got to others. He would have never thought someone would give him a storage ring to him. His spirit sense scanned in. There were 100k top-grade immortal crystals and a few middle-grade immortal artifact. However, there were no immortal pills. Of course Zhen Bingyu had lots of immortal pills in her storage ring, but they were given to her by Yimo. Even if she didn't need it, she wasn't going to give it away. She gave Dongfang Wang the immortal artifacts because they were her loot and it was a waste of space. If she knew Dongfang Wang was the person Yimo wanted to kill the most, she would turn back and kill this person without hesitation. Thinking about Zhen Bingyu's world-shocking beauty, Dongfang Wang shook his head. The difference between them was too huge. He put the storage ring away and soon disappeared. His speed was no slower than ordinary abstruse immortals. In a short while, he came to a well. If Yi Mo was here, he would be able to recognize this was the place he encountered the golden skeleton. Dongfang Wang came here and jumped in without hesitation. Qian Bei, I brought it over. Dongfang Wang came to the golden skeleton and knelt down while extending his hand out. There was 3 black flowers on his hand. That's right, it's this. You're very good, much better than that kid. The skeleton said, and a light wind blew over. The 3 flowers landed in the skeleton's mouth. Qian Bei, the abstruse yellow orb. Dongfang Wang asked carefully. The golden skeleton said, there's no rush for that. We'll wait till I remove the poison. Qian Bei, if you don't remove this poison, would your essence spirit be gone in some time? Dongfang Wang still knelt down but acted innocent. What do you think? My essence spirit. The golden skeleton wasn't able to finish his sentence and made this extremely furious sound. I think your essence spirit is weaker than a golden immortal, right? Dongfang Wang suddenly got up and robbed the golden staff. You. The golden skeleton screamed, you spirit controlled the black dragon flower, even I couldn't tell. What cultivation method are you cultivating? Dongfang Wang laughed, you're weaker than a dog. You don't even have golden immortal spirit sense and yet you want to check my black dragon flower? Keep dreaming. Die. Dongfang Wang brought out a mist ray in his hand and he grabbed that golden staff. He knew that this sliver of essence spirit was about to cripple and that's why he dared to ambush him. Even if I, Gongji Tsangming, abandon my golden body, I won't let you go. The golden skeleton said, and then an extremely faint shadow ran into Dongfang Wang's body. The next moment, Dongfang Wang gave up that golden staff and his face became hideous. If I'm possessed by you, then I would have spirit controlled that black dragon flower for nothing. Dongfang Wang suddenly took out 2 black needles and pierced down from the top of his head and sat down. You're cultivating Great Kuan Demon King Sutra. A shocked and furious voice sounded in Dongfang Wang's mind, you rat. Dongfang Wang sneered, playing tricks with me? I've never lost to people in my life playing tricks. You're a mere skeleton and you dare to play tricks with me? If it wasn't that Yi Guy had power that far surpassed me, how was he a match for me? If it wasn't that bastard who damaged my essence spirit again, how can I fear you? The golden skeleton screamed again. Brother, are we going back now? Tang Beiwei asked as soon as they left Ethereal Immortal Pond. Brother, are we going back now? Tang Beiwei asked as soon as they left Ethereal Immortal Pond. No, we're going Ice God Palace. I haven't been there before and people I've asked don't really know too, so let's go to Qing Wei Heaven first. Yi Mo was worried about Nai Shuang. As long she was fine at the immortal god body, he would just go visit and leave. Yu Jinxiang suddenly said, Martial brother, I actually know about that Ice God Palace. You know where it is? Yi Mo rejoiced. He asked a few immortal emperors but they all didn't know where it was. I know the approximate location. It's a bit strange there, even with my current power, it's hard to get close to it. Even if you go then you have to go alone. Yu Jinxiang said carefully. Yi Mo immediately remembered what Lang Xian Immortal Emperor said, is Ice God Palace near Qing Wei Abyssal River? Ordinary people couldn't go there, the murderous Kai there was too powerful. There should be more than one entrance to the Ice God Palace. But I know one of them and one must pass the Qing Wei Abyssal River indeed. Yu Jinxiang said. Seeing Yi Mo fall in silence, she added, the closest immortal city near Ice God Palace is Ice Carrot Immortal City. How about we go there and then Beiwei, Ning Yu, and I will wait for you there. After hesitating, Yi Mo said, that will do, let's go to Qing Wei Heaven first. In an immortal rest tower in Ice Carrot Immortal City, Yi Mo and them were in a room discussing the details. Yu Jinxiang had the most experience and told Yi Mo many things he needed to take care of. Above the river, anything would be extremely heavy. One couldn't fly at all. Even weaker immortal kings would be grinded by that killing Kai. Those who could go to the river were all body refinement cultivators or had some top-level slaughter god art. There are some body refinement cultivators choosing to cultivate next to the river. I didn't go there yet because my cultivation level hasn't recovered yet. I was planning to go when my power has recovered. The body refinement cultivators there have a lot of experience, you might be able to ask them. Yu Jinxiang was afraid Yi Mo would be careless just because his power was strong. Yi Mo knew what she meant and thanked, I don't know how long I will be gone for, so I'll leave Beiwei and Ningyi Yu to you. Feng Kong Grand Emperor and Dragon River Grand Emperor hasn't returned to Qing Wei Heaven yet. They probably had some accident in the void. If there's some incident here you can leave first or even go back to Gonghua Heaven Mo Yu Immortal Sect. Don't worry, I understand. Yu Jinxiang knew Yi Mo's worry because Yi Mo already told her about the formation in that palace. She knew how important Tang Beiwei was to Yi Mo, so no matter what, she wasn't going to let Tang Beiwei get injured. Ningyi Yu, Beiwei, you all have cultivation resources. Use this time to bring up your cultivation level. Yi Mo added. Don't worry brother, I will definitely speed up my cultivation. Tang Beiwei said. Her cultivation level was too low, if she was immortal king power, her brother might even take her this time. Yu Jinxiang said, you've left many resources to me, I will try to bring my back to immortal monarch quickly. The few exchanged communication beads and then Yi Mo left the city towards the river. Qing Wei Abyssal River wasn't far from Ice Carrot Immortal City indeed. Of course, this is only relative to Yi Mo's power. Even when using the space-time boat, Yi Mo took half a day to get near Qing Wei Abyssal River. From a long distance away, Yi Mo's spirit sense could only see a white patch. As he got closer to the Qing Wei Abyssal River, the murderous Kai became heavier. Even Yi Mo could feel invisible blood blades and sharp rays. Yi Mo's spirit sense domain expanded. He was shocked, he was far from close to the Qing Wei Abyssal River and there was such murderous Kai, even body refinement wasn't something easy here. He put away the space-time boat and Yi Mo began walking. As he got closer, this ancient fighting sound appeared in his brain. A giant with an angry face stood in the void, raising his enormous hand and slapped down. Rumble. Entire continents turned to rubble. What remained was a huge palm print with endless murderous Kai. Yi Mo took in a cold breath. There was still some distance to Qing Wei Abyssal River, but he felt the terror of that palm. Countless years had passed and that palm print became an endless river. That river was Qing Wei Abyssal River. Yi Mo's spirit sense expanded and soon dazed. His spirit sense saw a small hotel that was absurdly small. Yi Mo sped up. He didn't use much time and arrived at this hotel. He was certain this was no immortal artifact but a real hotel built with bricks and stones. The hotel was tattered and there was an even more tattered flag hanging out that had the word wine. Next to it was a dark stone tablet with a simple poem, 1 bottle of Junyang wine, 1 can reach the river, 2 bottles of Junyang wine, no stress to enter the river, 3 bottles of Junyang wine, travel the abyssal river however you like. Such puffery. This advertisement made it seem like anyone could travel the abyssal river however they liked if they drank 3 bottles of Junyang wine. Seeing this, Yi Mo went in the hotel without hesitation and the surrounding murderous Kai disappeared immediately. The space inside looked the same as outside, there was no space immortal artifact here. There were very little people inside. A pale-faced woman sat at a simple bar and there were a few wine kettles on there. They were different colored. Blue, white and black. There were only 3 tables in here and they were all seated. The female immortal's cultivation level was obscure. It seemed to be immortal king or immortal monarch. Yi Mo's spirit sense scanned her without hesitation and immediately saw that she was an immortal emperor primary stage. An immortal emperor was selling wine here? Yi Mo felt this was strange. The first table sat a man and woman. The man was very handsome and the woman was extremely pretty. They had a wine bottle on their table that was blue-colored. Yi Mo saw their cultivation levels. The man was Immortal Monarch Primary Stage and the woman Immortal Monarch Primary Stage. The second table had 3 people. The outermost one with long hair was Immortal Monarch Middle Stage. The white-skinned man was only Immortal King Middle Stage and a monk-looking guy was Immortal Monarch Middle Stage. They also had a wine that was blue-colored. The third table had a shrunken old man. He had no wine on the table. Seeing this old man, Yi Mo was shocked. He scanned with his spirit sense and couldn't see his appearance. When he carefully scanned, He realized the old man's skin was like tree clumps. No matter how meticulous he was, he couldn't see the power level of this old man. Even for Yu Jinxiang, he would be able to see her cultivation level if he checked carefully the first time. Yimo's spirit sense couldn't see through the real power of this old man. He could if he forcefully checked with his spirit sense blades, but that would be offensive. Yimo ignored these people and came up to the counter. I want to go check out Qingwei Abyssal River. Is there some information jade slip for sale, or is there anything I need to prepare? Yes, 1 top-grade immortal crystals. The pale-faced woman sneered and threw out a jade slip. That cheap? Yimo thought an immortal emperor selling things here would mean the price was absurd. Yimo passed a top-grade immortal crystals over and checked the jade slip. He soon realized why it costed only 1 immortal crystals. It was the poem he saw at the door. Yimo passed a top-grade immortal crystals over and checked the jade slip. He soon realized why it costed only 1 immortal crystals. It was the poem he saw at the door. Junyang, I want 1 bottle of blue wine. One white-haired bulky man walked in and yelled at the woman while throwing a storage ring over. The woman checked the storage ring and then threw over a blue bottle. This blue bottle was much smaller than the blue kettle. Friend, may I ask what use does this blue wine have? Yimo saluted with his fists. The white-haired man studied Yimo and said, You're an immortal king middle stage. There's no point in asking. Come back when you're immortal spirit body tertiary stage or immortal monarch. Then he ignored Yimo and went on the wooden stool without a table next to the door and sat down before drinking a small mouth. Then, the man stopped moving. Now Yimo realized why no one moved. It seemed they were learning the killing intent in the wine. Yimo's spirit sense scanned the wine bottle in the man's hand. An extremely fierce killing intent invaded his spirit sense. Wine with killing intent. Yimo was shocked. There really was everything in the immortal realm. Even though Yimo didn't drink this wine, he guessed that after drinking the wine, one could turn the killing intent in the wine into his own killing intent and use that against the killing kai of Qingwei Abyssal River. Junyang, give me a kettle of blue wine. Yimo immediately said. The shop was very quiet, and after Yimo said this there was a strangeness in the atmosphere. After a while, the long-haired immortal monarch at the 3-man table laughed. A mere immortal king dares to ask for a kettle of blue wine, haha. The man and woman glanced at Yimo casually before shaking their heads. The old man suddenly got up and slowly walked towards the counter. Do you know that Junyang wine is very expensive? The old man laughed. Yimo nodded. I believe it won't be cheap. Since you know it's expensive, you still dare to buy it. The old man narrowed his eyes and scanned Yimo. Before Yimo answered, 2 more people came. It was an old woman and a braided young girl. The girl looked in her teens but was already immortal king primary stage. The old woman was an immortal emperor middle stage, but she hid her power to immortal monarch middle stage. However, Yimo saw through it immediately. I'm not too wealthy, but I can afford a few bottles of wine. Yimo smiled and looked at the female immortal. Give me the wine. You're that wealthy, can you treat me to a kettle of white wine? The old man pointed to the white wine bottle and wiped the saliva on his mouth. Yimo said plainly, Sorry, I'm not poor, but my immortal crystals are from a small business. I can't treat people so casually. Yimo didn't know the price, but he knew it wasn't cheap. He wasn't that generous to treat a guy whom he didn't know. You must pay first. Junyang said coldly but didn't move, clearly thinking Yimo couldn't afford it. Yimo was angry and asked, How much? If you have blue wine kill stone, then you can get a blue kettle with 100. If you have white wine kill stone, then you can get a blue kettle for 10. If you have black wine kill stone, I can give you 10 blue kettles for 1. Junyang said. The long-haired immortal monarch laughed. Junyang, he probably doesn't even know what wine killstone is. Yimo saluted with his fists. Junyang, I don't know what it is. It's my first time here. Haha, I thought I was the boldest, but master isn't here, someone braver than me. He dares to buy blue wine the first time he's here. The young girl laughed. Then she pointed at Yimo. Stupid egg, the wine killstone is the stone on the banks of Qingwei Abyssal River. It took my master many years to find 200 blue ones. You have to find white ones inside the river. But you can just buy one bottle. One bottle is only a tenth of a kettle and it's much cheaper. Yimo finally understood what was going on and saluted with his fists. Junyang, it's my first time here. I really don't have wine kill stone, but I really want to drink this blue wine too. Do you not take immortal crystals here? Immortal crystals? Why wouldn't I take it? Didn't I just take one? Junyang said slowly, but I don't take immortal crystals for my wine. Seeing how you're so genuine, I'll take an extreme grade immortal range. If you have that, I'll give you a kettle of blue wine. The sneer on her face made Yimo lose all good impression of this shop. He immediately turned to go. Almost everyone thought he was going to leave. Yimo wasn't going to leave, of course. Extreme grade immortal range was indeed precious, but Yimo wanted to know about that wine more. He came to the entrance of the shop and waved his hand. A terrifying sound came outside and a white figure landed. All the killing Kai were smashed away by this white figure. Immortal spirit Kai dense to a new extreme rushed in the shop. In that instant, everyone realized what Yimo took out. It really was an extreme grade immortal range. You. The braided young girl looked at Yimo in shock. You really took out an extreme grade immortal range? You're a mere immortal king, but you have extreme grade immortal range? There finally was a sliver of shock on Junyang's face. He could give this immortal range to Junyang in a storage ring, but her scorn made Yimo annoyed, so Yimo threw it down here. Who said that immortal kings can't have extreme grade immortal range? The immortal range is yours now, give me the wine. Yimo reached out his hand. This time Junyang didn't hesitate and threw a blue wine kettle to Yimo, but she didn't take the immortal range. The immortal range didn't stay there for long and sunk into the ground and disappeared. Just when Yimo was going to drink it in a big gulp, the handsome man from the first table suddenly said, "This blue wine is made with blue wine killstone. With your power, you can't take it if you drink in a big mouthful." Yimo knew that the man reminded him, thinking his cultivation level was low. Yimo scanned around and saw no one else reminded him. Even that Junyang just looked at him coldly, as though if he fell down they could come up and divide his assets. What a pity. If you died, perhaps I can find an extreme grade immortal range in your storage ring too. The braided girl sighed. Thank you, friend. Yimo thanked and saluted with his fists to this man. At the same time, he lost all good impression of this little girl. She seemed innocent but was so evil. Despite thanking him, Yimo still drank the wine in a big gulp. The nearby people dazed. Was this immortal king seeking death or crazy? Even immortal monarchs drank in small sips. Yimo wasn't seeking death, his spirit sense could sense the killing intent in the wine. After drinking it, he clearly felt the killing intent. It charged at his sea of consciousness and even wanted to twist his meridians, but with the pressure of Yimo's immortal essence and spirit sense, it immediately turned into knowledge of killing intent. His understanding of killing intent god art was deeper. His spirit sense scanned out and the murderous Kai outside affected him less. No wonder the poem goes one kettle of wine and one can reach the abyssal river. That probably meant the blue kettle. What was the white kettle? You're fine. The braided girl saw Yimo drank a big gulp and was completely fine. He didn't even need to sit down and refine it. The rest of the people looked at Yimo with a daze. No one was stupid here, and seeing that Yimo was completely fine after drinking a big gulp, everyone realized he wasn't simple. What shocked them even more was that this time Yimo raised the winner kettle and poured the entire kettle in his mouth. A terrifying killing intent swept over. Yimo felt satisfied. As he used his immortal essence, the killing intent soon was fused into his god art by the three-birth chant. A terrifying killing intent swept over. Yimo felt satisfied. As he used his immortal essence, the killing intent soon was fused into his god art by the three-birth chant. Yimo could clearly feel part of his god arts improve. At the same time, his cultivation level loosened up. At this moment, he scanned his spirit sense outside. That terrifying murderous Kai became much tamer. It wasn't fierce and oppressive as before. This blue wine's not bad. How much is the white wine? Yimo put the empty wine kettle on the bar and asked Junyang. There was no more sound in the shop. That long-haired man who scorned Yimo even shivered. If he still didn't realize that Yimo hid his power, then he would be an idiot. Even if Yi Mo wasn't an immortal emperor, he would be a top-level body refinement immortal. White wine is 100 white wine kill stones for a kettle. Junyang offended immortal friend before, I'm willing to give you 10% off. Just 90 white wine kill stones are fine. Junyang got up and bowed to Yi Mo. She had been selling wine for all these years, from immortal monarch to immortal emperor. From immortal spirit body primary stage to a immortal god body primary stage, but she had never seen someone like Yi Mo who came here for the first time and drank the entire kettle in one go. Yi Mo was shocked at this price. Wouldn't that mean it would cost 10 extreme grade immortal ranges? The white wine would definitely be better than the blue wine, but Yi Mo didn't want to use 9 extreme grade immortal ranges to buy one. In that case, never mind. I'll go see if I can find some white wine kill stones in the Qing Wei Abyssal River. Yi Mo said and turned to leave. Immortal friend, please wait a moment. The immortal emperor middle stage old woman suddenly stopped Yi Mo. Seeing Yi Mo stop, she said, Immortal friend, seeing as how you drank the blue wine so quickly, you must be a top-level body refinement immortal. If you reached immortal god body, then I'm willing to collaborate with you to explore the Qing Wei Abyssal River Lightning Kill God Palace. Lightning Kill God Palace? Yi Mo knew from Kai Mi that Qing Wei Abyssal River was formed by the palm of a powerful being. How could there be some god palace then? It's your first time at Qing Wei Abyssal River? Seeing that Yi Mo didn't even know this, the old woman frowned. Yi Mo quickly saluted with his fists. That's right, it's my first time here. That's why I wanted to buy a jade slip to know about the situation here. The old woman nodded. Ever since people could come in here, the Lightning Kill God Palace was found. You probably know Zhu Qian Emperor sect Zhizong Immortal Emperor, right? He has an golden bow of immortal extermination. He found the bow in that palace. It seems news of Yi Mo taking the bow still hasn't reached here yet. What? Golden bow of immortal extermination came from the Lightning Kill God Palace? Yi Mo became excited. Yi Mo's second purpose here was to find the remaining 8 golden bone arrows. Junyang gave a jade slip to Yi Mo again in awkwardness. Immortal friend, this is free. Thank you. Yi Mo scanned his spirit sense in immediately. This jade slip was very precise. It's unknown when the Qing Wei Abyssal River appeared, but it said that it was palmed out by a powerful being. The murderous Kai never dissipated, and at the start, the murderous Kai was so powerful that even immortal emperors couldn't get close. Later on, the murderous Kai dissipated and body refinement cultivators could come over here. Countless body refinement immortals reaped great benefits here at the Qing Wei Abyssal River. This was not only the pinnacle grounds for body refinement, but the Qing Wei Abyssal River also created countless wine kill stone. The stone contains all sorts of killing intent and killing force. It could help cultivators learn kill force god art. However, different people had different capabilities to learning. Later on, there was a powerful winemaker who combined the stones with immortal spirit herb to create 3 wines. It was the blue, white and black wine. Drinking this wine was much easier to learn Dao art than using the wine kill stone. This was why the wine was so appreciated, but its value was too high. Ordinary people wouldn't be able to get enough wine kill stones even after cultivating here for countless years. Other than wine kill stones, Lightning Kill God Palace was found in the Qing Wei Abyssal River too. The most famous magic artifact from there was Golden Bow of Immortal Extermination. It was taken by Zhizong Immortal Emperor, and using this, Zhizong Immortal Emperor set his dominant status in the immortal realm and developed Zhu Qian Emperor sect into one of the top emperor sects. Not everyone was so lucky. Many cultivators who came here were obliterated by the murderous Kai. The Lightning Kill God Palace is extremely huge. I've been once and I know part of the life corners. Seeing Yi Mo put away the jade slip, the old woman said. What's life corner? Yi Mo asked. Corners with no murderous Kai. I've been there. The young girl quickly said. To Qianbei, we have part of the map to the Lightning Kill God Palace. This map is left behind by an immortal emperor peak stage. We're willing to contribute the map. The immortal monarch middle stage got up and saluted with his fists to Yi Mo and the old woman. You want to join up with us to the palace? Yi Mo had some good impression of this immortal monarch. The pretty female immortal monarch also got up and said in surprise, "Brother Sheng, you." The immortal monarch middle stage saluted with his fists to Yi Mo. "We're a couple and we've been cultivating our body here for a few centuries. We're about to leave here but we got a partial map of the palace. However, we can't go in. I feel Qian Bei isn't an ordinary person, so I want to give this map to Qian Bei. WN Bei wishes to follow the two Qian Bei in." Then, the immortal monarch middle stage took out a jade slip and the jade slip floated to Yi Mo. Yi Mo looked inside. There was a white river but there were markers to enter the river and there was guidelines in the river. The man knew they were too weak and couldn't explore the palace even with the map, so they gave it to Yi Mo in hopes of Yi Mo taking them in. Yi Mo and everyone realized what they meant. Yi Mo saluted with his fists. "If you and your wife don't mind, you can come in with me, but my power is weak and I might not be able to take care of you too." The immortal monarch middle stage immediately saluted with his fists. "WN Bei and my wife only wish to follow Qian Bei inside the palace. As for our life and death inside, we won't burden Qian Bei. WAN Bei Yu Lusheng, title Yuan Zhong. This is WN Bei's Dao partner, Shi Qiong, title Kai Qing. They definitely have some purpose wanting to go in the palace so desperately, but Yi Mo didn't mind as long as there was no conflict of interests. "Okay, I'm called Yi Mo," Yi Mo said straightforwardly. At this moment, the scrawny old man laughed. "I also want to join the fun with you guys. I'm only good with spirit sense cultivation method and have some experience in blocking the murderous Kai." The old man finished and then a ripple appeared in front of him. The ripple expanded like a shield and slowly went out of the shop. Everyone's spirit sense followed the ripple and found that all the murderous Kai was blocked by the shield tunnel. Spirit sense could go in freely. Yi Mo was alert. This old guy had such powerful spirit sense cultivation method. With that, he was no weaker than the old woman. At this moment, the white-haired man got up and saluted with his fists. "Qian Bei, WN Bei Gari Shangcheng. I have a twisted moon mirror artifact that can detect the power of murderous Kai. If Qian Beis don't mind, I wish to join the squad too. I only wish to go to the outer palace. This magic artifact is good, you can join us," the old woman said before Yi Mo could speak. Yi Mo looked around. He felt he said nothing, but these people treated him as the leader. He really wanted to go to the palace, but he didn't agree to join up with them. Yi Mo had the feeling that he was being used. "Everyone, my cultivation level isn't high. I believe there's many people stronger than me here. In that case, why does everyone want to join up with me?" Yi Mo was very straightforward. This concerned his life. He had to ask. Yu Lusheng spoke first. "Yi Qian Bei, it's because you can drink a kettle of blue wine in one go. Regardless if you're immortal emperor or an immortal god body Qian Bei, that means Qian Bei's domain can block the murderous Kai of the Qingwei Abyssal River. The scariest thing about entering the Qingwei Abyssal River is this murderous Kai. If Qian Bei's domain can block the murderous Kai, we would have half the trouble of entering the palace." Yu Lusheng spoke first. "Yi Qian Bei, it's because you can drink a kettle of blue wine in one go. Regardless if you're immortal emperor or an immortal god body Qian Bei, that means Qian Bei's domain can block the murderous Kai of the Qingwei Abyssal River. The scariest thing about entering the Qingwei Abyssal River is this murderous Kai. If Qian Bei's domain can block the murderous Kai, we would have half the trouble of entering the palace." Yi Mo nodded to Yu Lusheng and sneered at the old woman. "So you're planning to use me as a shield? My cultivation level is low, but not everyone can use me as a shield." The old woman smiled and didn't mind. "You're wrong. I'm collaborating with you, not using you as a shield. My domain can't block the murderous Kai as well as you, but it's not for show. If our domain combines and then there's the old man's spirit sense wall and Gari Shangcheng's twisted moon mirror, there's almost no pressure going into the palace. You're the best at blocking the murderous Kai, that's why you're the leader. We have to add our domains onto yours." "Yi Qian Bei, this Qian Bei is right, it's indeed so." Yu Lusheng quickly added. "So that's it." Yi Mo's anger before was fake. He turned around and smiled to Junyang. "Junyang, is there any other way to buy your white and black wine?" Junyang smiled to Yi Mo. "Of course, but the value of that thing can't be low." Yi Mo laughed and took out a jade box. "Of course not. There's a fruit inside to trade for one kettle or blue, white and black wine." Before Yimo finished, everyone in here stared at Yimo thinking he was crazy. No matter what immortal fruit Yimo took out, it wouldn't be enough to trade for these 3 fruits unless it was something like Death Dao fruit. Junyang's face sunk immediately. Dao friend, Yi is playing with me? She didn't plan to open it at all because she felt there was nothing worth it. Does it look like I'm playing with you? And my fruit is also exchanging for your wine recipe. Yimo added plainly. Everyone looked at Yimo in shock, thinking he was robbing the wine. Junyang Hotel had been here for all these years. If anyone could rob it, it wouldn't survive till today. A red light flashed and a red ring appeared above Junyang's head. There seemed to be a magic artifact jumping around inside. My shop is small, but not everyone can rob it. Take your fruit back, I'm not trading. Junyang sneered as her killing intent exploded. Yimo didn't seem to notice it and said, although I want good things when I see it, I'm not low enough to rob it. Look at my thing first, if you like it then trade. If not, I'll take it and leave immediately. Seeing Yimo wasn't joking at all, Junyang felt strange too. Okay, in that case, I'll have a look. Junyang grabbed the jade box and opened the restriction. There was a blue fruit laying in the middle. It didn't have any arrow. Junyang dazed. What fruit was this? How could it exchange for the 3 kettles and the recipe? Emperor wood blue fruit. The scrawny old man said subconsciously, you really have emperor wood blue fruit? Where did you get it? Yimo acted as though he didn't hear this series of questions and said to Junyang, what do you think? Why should he tell this scrawny old man? Plus, this old man gave him a subtle threatening feeling. This really is emperor wood blue fruit. It can allow immortal emperor to break through without any barrier and feel the Dao waves of the heavens? Junyang asked. Yimo closed the jade box and put the restrictions back on before slowly asking, I didn't expect there to be someone to recognize it. Saves me the trouble of explaining. That's right, this is emperor wood blue fruit. It's up to you if you want to trade it. If not, I'm leaving now. The old woman didn't seem to know, but after hearing Junyang's words, her eyes lit up more than the old man. This was definitely something beyond level 9 immortal spirit item. She didn't expect a mere immortal king had this many things. I knew about the fruit from Little Mud immortal friend, I trust him. Junyang pointed at the scrawny old man. Yimo almost laughed. This was a really queer name, Little Mud immortal friend. Little Mud immortal friend is really knowledgeable. Yimo laughed and saluted with his fists to this old man. Haha, immortal friend Yi Rayleigh has a lot of good things. If I'm not wrong, you're not yet immortal king, right? I didn't expect someone who's not immortal emperor to have this many good things. The scrawny old man's eyes were fixed on the jade box even when talking to Yimo. Seeing this, Yimo breathed easy. It seemed that this old man wasn't immortal emperor peak stage yet. Otherwise, he wouldn't even care about it. It's not Little Mud immortal friend's concern what my cultivation level is. Who said that those who aren't immortal emperor can't have emperor wood blue fruit, right? Yimo felt the old man's pressure press over and said in contempt. I'm willing to trade, but my black wine can't make up a kettle. I can give you 1 blue, 2 white and 1 bottle of black. Junyang said. Yimo laughed. 1 bottle of black wine is fine, but I didn't hear you mention the recipe. Sorry, we're not going to disclose our recipe. Junyang wasn't as polite as before, seeing that Yimo wasn't immortal emperor. Yimo didn't mind and took the jade box. In that case, never mind. Let's go to the palace now then. The old woman rejoiced seeing Yimo take the jade box. Yimo sneered inside. How could he not tell what the old woman's intentions were? Sorry, I don't want to team up with you. Immortal friend you, if you and your wife wants to team up with me, we can go to now. If not, I'm going alone. Yimo rejected the old woman and said to Yu Lusheng and Shiqiong, you dare to go in the river with 2 mere immortal monarchs? The old woman asked. Is there a problem? Yimo sneered. With his current power, how can he be scared of an immortal emperor middle stage old hag? Martial sister Cai Liu, since this guy thinks he's too good, then we can team up. The scrawny old man smiled. The old woman laughed. In that case, I'll team up with Little Mud martial brother. I believe everyone here is immortal spirit body and above. If you want to join us, then follow behind me. Gari Xiangqing and the white-haired immortal monarch thought about it and stood behind the old woman. The people from the second table all stood behind them too. Yi Mo was certain that if he didn't take out Emperor Wood Blue Fruit, the two immortal emperors definitely wouldn't team up to go into the river now, but even so he wasn't scared. Brother Sheng. Shi Qiong saw the original squad split up into two and looked worriedly at Yu Lusheng. Theoretically, they should be joining up with the two immortal emperors. Brother Sheng. Shi Qiong saw the original squad split up into two and looked worriedly at Yu Lusheng. Theoretically, they should be joining up with the two immortal emperors. Sister Qiong, let's join Brother Yi. This is our last time going in. If there's still no result, we won't be coming back here again. Yu Lusheng soon made a decision. After knowing Yi Mo wasn't immortal emperor yet, he called Yi Mo Brother Yi. Brother Sheng, isn't this too risky? We're offending people and putting ourselves into danger. Shi Qiong sound transmissioned to Yu Lusheng. She was worried about Yi Mo's power. Yi Mo wasn't immortal emperor yet. Even if his domain was strong against murderous Kai, he was the only one. Yu Lusheng didn't answer. He trusted she would understand him. Yi Mo could drink an entire kettle in one go. How could he be ordinary? Such person would have greater potential. Plus, even if Yi Mo joined the two immortal emperors, they might not be able to reach the Lightning Kill God Palace. However, he was planning to leave here and gamble for one last time. He had decided that if they couldn't go forward in the river, they would leave. At the same time, he felt that Yi Mo was more trustworthy than the old woman and scrawny old man. Even if they couldn't go to the palace, it would be making a friend. As for the immortal monarchs teaming up with the old woman and scrawny old man, they probably just wanted to use the immortal emperor domain to find wine killstones in the river. Yi Mo looked at Yu Lusheng with new light. Despite them splitting off with immortal emperor, he still didn't change his mind and teamed up with him. The old woman heard this and sneered. She didn't care if Yu Lusheng joined them or not, but she cared about the map he had. Now, the map was on Yi Mo. She knew that without Yi Mo it was impossible for them to get into the river. As for teaming up, both she and the old man knew it was for Yi Mo's items. This immortal friend, can you sell a copy of the map to me? Little mud immortal friend smiled to Yu Lusheng. Yu Lusheng said with trouble, Qian Bei, I already gave the map to Yi Qian Bei. Very well, very well. The old man sneered. How could he not understand what Yu Lusheng meant? Since they weren't the same team, of course he couldn't give the map to him. Then, he said to Yi Mo immortal friend Yi, can you sell me a copy of the map? Sure, but I need a recipe of the wine. Yi Mo said. Clearly, this old man had some connections to Junyang. As soon as Yi Mo said this, the old man narrowed his eyes. The recipe is Junyang's, how could I have it? But I can give you other things like immortal pills or wine kill stone. No. Yi Mo said, and then said to the couple, let's go. Seeing Yi Mo leave, the two quickly followed. They offended everyone here. If they stayed it wouldn't be good. How long have you two been here? Seeing the two follow, Yi Mo asked. The main reason we came to the river is to find something. Body refinement is just a bonus, but we didn't expect that we didn't find what we wanted, but our body refinement reached immortal spirit body tertiary stage. Yu Lusheng laughed bitterly. He didn't say what he was looking for. Yi Mo didn't ask, but he could guess it was in the palace. With your cultivation level, where can you get to in the river? Yi Mo asked. Yu Lusheng thought and said, if it's just us two we can only enter 100 meters into the river. If it's teaming up with others and our domains stacked, we can go deeper but not to the bottom. As for the Lightning Kill God Palace, we can't even get close unless the tide comes. But that takes too long, we can't afford to wait. After we got the map we didn't dare to team up with others. We're deciding to leave here, and seeing Brother Yi straightforward, I wanted to gamble. Yi Mo laughed. But you didn't expect me to not team up with that old woman, right? Yi Mo saw in the jade slip Junyang gave him that the tide came everyone 100,000 years. Who would wait here? Yu Lusheng laughed awkwardly. Yes, if Brother Yi teamed up with the two immortal Emperor Qian Beis, we might really be able to reach the palace. He was implying that they wouldn't be able to reach the palace alone. Yimo said in contempt, if I teamed up with them you two would be suffering the most, not me. Do you think in times of danger that old woman would care about you? They might not even care about me. I would definitely not team up with such people. Plus I don't need to team up with them. Is there a lot of immortal emperors here? Yimo saw Yu Lusheng realizing that too. Yu Lusheng quickly answered, there's not a lot of immortal emperors, but every period of time there would be immortal emperors coming. There's only 6 who always stay here. The scrawny old man is one of them. Cai Liu also comes frequently. There's quite some immortal monarchs and immortal kings. Most immortal monarchs are here for body refinement, meanwhile some immortal kings can't even get close to the river. Yimo nodded. Tell me about the river. It's my first time here. Has anyone crossed the river? The water in the river contains murderous kai that would invade the sea of consciousness like blades. It's very painful. There are also immortal spirit beasts in the river called abyssal dark shark. This fish is very ferocious and savage. It loves ambushing body refinement cultivators. Yu Lusheng said with fear. Clearly he encountered one before. As they spoke, Yimo saw the vast river and the extremely sharp murderous kai. It was much murderous than at the Junyang Hotel. However, it didn't really affect him. Seeing Yimo have it so easy, Yu Lusheng and Shiqiang breathed easy. Yimo waved his hand and Shadowless appeared before them. Seeing the golden-winged Shadowless, the two retreated a few steps. Yimo quickly said, "Don't worry, this is my immortal pet. Such a cool immortal spirit beast. It's like a dragon horse." Yu Lusheng praised. Shadowless wanted to ask Yimo if here was the Qingwei Abyssal River, but hearing Yu Lusheng praise him he immediately gloated, "You have keen eyes. Dragon horse is nothing, to me it's just a matter of a bite." Yu Lusheng didn't mind that Shadowless could speak, but he was shocked that Shadowless didn't fear the murderous kai here. Seeing Yu Lusheng want to ask what Shadowless was, Yimo quickly asked first, "Brother Yu, do you know who that Xiao Tu is?" Yimo felt this Xiao Tu was strange. He felt very ancient, a type of ancient that he only felt from Kai Mi before. This Xiao Tu seemed even more ancient than Kai Mi. I don't know who he is, I just know he's very powerful. Even though there's 3 tables in the shop, the 3rd table is his no matter how many people there are. No one dares to use his table. But usually he doesn't attack others if they don't offend him. Yu Lusheng looked worriedly at Yimo. "Brother Yi, you probably offended him today, so after coming out I suggest Brother Yi don't go back to Junyang Hotel." "How do you know he won't attack me here?" Yimo asked. Shiqiang suddenly added, "One spirit sense can't scan out more than 100 meters in here. When we came out, we left our original tracks. They wouldn't be able to find us." Shiqiang suddenly added, "One spirit sense can't scan out more than 100 meters in here. When we came out, we left our original tracks. They wouldn't be able to find us." So that was it. Yimo scanned his spirit sense out. His spirit sense had domain but could only scan 1,000-meter radius. "Brother Yu, let's go down from here." Yimo looked at the jade slip and said, "Brother Yi, you're saying to go in from here?" Yu Lusheng saw Yimo stand by the river and asked in shock. If Yimo really was going down from here, then he would have to leave according to his original plan. Yimo smiled, "Of course not, I made a boat to cross the river." Then, Yimo took out a level 8 immortal artifact and threw it on the river. Forging level 8 immortal artifact was shocking enough, but Yu Lusheng didn't look at the magic artifact. He stared at Yimo with astonishment. "Brother Yi, you said you want to cross the Qingwei Abyssal River? Going to the palace is just on the way. My main purpose is to cross the river. By the way, do you know what's on the opposite side of the river?" Yimo said. Yu Lusheng just realized that he didn't hear wrong. Yimo was really trying to cross the river. He said seriously, "Brother Yi, the closer you are to the center of the river the heavier the murderous kai is. One mistake and you would be ground to mince. I once saw an immortal emperor tertiary stage who was an immortal god body primary stage never come out after entering the river. Perhaps he crossed the river." Yimo smiled. The murderous kai here was strong, but it didn't concern him. He had stayed in that lethal force dimension in the void for so long. He was used to such environment. Plus, his spirit sense domain had a strong effect dealing with the murderous Kai. Seeing Yimo being stubborn, Shiqiang didn't want Yu Lusheng to say more, so she said, "Brother Sheng, Brother Yi probably knows what he's doing. If there really is danger in the river, we can retreat." Yu Lusheng knew what she meant, of course, and nodded. "In that case, let's do it." It's said that the other side of the river is an icy world. The ice is so cold that it can freeze one's soul and spirit sense. Even if Brother Yi can cross the river, it's best you don't go there. Freeze soul and spirit sense. Yimo had never heard of such terrifying cold. "I've only just heard about it. We've been here for a few centuries and have heard all sorts of strange things," Yu Lusheng said in awkwardness. "Let's go on the ship. I'm going to drive." Shadowless got on. Seeing Yimo and Shadowless not fear the murderous Kai at all, the two couldn't help admire Yimo and his pet. Compared to that, Yimo being an immortal forgery grandmaster wasn't so amazing anymore. After going in, Yimo's spirit sense domain and immortal monarch domain stacked together and expanded out. At the same time, he fused his understanding of killing force with what he learned from the blue wine. In order to find their common point, Yimo smashed his killing force with the murderous Kai from outside. An extremely terrifying yet violent killing intent rush into Yimo's sea of consciousness. Yimo spat a mouthful of blood and immediately sat on the deck while saying to Shadowless, "Head to the palace." Then he stopped talking. After the two got on, they didn't feel that murderous Kai at all. This made them respect Yimo. Yimo's domain was this powerful that they couldn't feel a sliver of murderous Kai. This was something they had never seen before. But before they could thank him, Yimo spat a mouthful of blood. The two were stunned. They had only left the bank about 50 meters. Even they could survive this level of murderous Kai as long as there were no sharks. But now, Yimo just spat a mouthful of blood. How could they go to the Lightning Kill God Palace now? They didn't know that the reason Yimo spat blood was because his spirit sense charged out of his domain and went out a few thousand meters, twisting with large amounts of murderous Kai. At the same time, he felt the murderous Kai of that powerful being who created the river. Now, Yimo completely fused himself into this murderous Kai. As his spirit sense domain extended outside of his domain, he had a more clear feeling of this murderous Kai that was the lethal force of his god art. That's right. When killing intent and killing chi mixed together, it would force killing force. He learned killing force very early on, but never had he had such a direct and clear feeling like today. He clearly grasped that powerful being's killing force. Under his permission, waves of murderous Kai flowed into Yimo's sea of consciousness and ravaged his sea of consciousness. The evil Kai was burned to nothing by the heaven flame, while the killing intent and killing Kai was fused into Yimo's own god art. At the same time, his sea of consciousness began perfecting. His spirit sense domain was clearer and he was practicing god art and spirit sense attacks in his sea of consciousness. Yimo's eyes were tight shut, but he was overjoyed. He knew what was going on. His spirit will 9 transformations reached level 4. Never had he feel spirit will 9 transformations this clearly. What's going on? Yu Lusheng saw that Yimo controlled the ship and left the river more than 1,000 meters, but they were completely fine. As soon as Yu Lusheng said this, a dark shadow charged into Yimo's domain. "Abyss dark shark." Shiqiang called out in shock. The darker their color, the scarier they were. Even Shadowless was shocked by the speed of this shark. Nor did Shadowless expect it could break into Boss's domain. Before he could eat this shark, a purple ray swept over. Splat! The shark fell onto the deck bleeding. Yimo got up and Zishu was carried on his back. The instant he learned his new killing force, his domain shrunk and this shark got in. His new move carried his newly learned killing force and struck out. It instantly locked onto the shark and killed it in one strike. Brother Yi. Yu Lusheng could tell now that Yimo had new learnings for his god art. Yimo smiled satisfyingly. This powerful being destroyed the immortal realm, but it's not completely bad. This killing force is unheard of. Destroyed the immortal realm? Yu Lusheng asked. I'll tell you when I have time. I need to cultivate my god art. Then, Yimo raised Zishu. Countless murderous Kai gathered over, but moments later, the murderous Kai disappeared. Yimo attacked with Zishu faster and faster, and the nearby evil Kai was getting dimmer and dimmer. The killing intent and killing Kai seemed to have been sucked away by Yi Mo. By the time the two reacted, they felt Yi Mo take back his domain. The nearby murderous Kai were very faint. They didn't feel anything uncomfortable at all. Even an ordinary immortal king could defend against the murderous Kai, now much less them. Yu Lushing and his wife glanced at each other. Their eyes were covered in shock. They didn't even dare to imagine Yi Mo could do this. Yu Lushing was certain that the old woman's team might not have it as easy as them. No wonder Yi Mo didn't want to join up with them. He didn't need to join up with anyone. He probably took them because he reminded him and gave him the map. By the riverside, a middle-aged immortal monarch with a face covered in dark spots stared at the river in shock. He suddenly found this passage with extremely weak murderous Kai even an immortal king can go in. Did something occur at the river, or was there another tide? By the riverside, a middle-aged immortal monarch with a face covered in dark spots stared at the river in shock. He suddenly found this passage with extremely weak murderous Kai even an immortal king can go in. Did something occur at the river, or was there another tide? He soon took out a ship and threw it onto the river. Going forward a few hundred meters, he realized that what he saw was real. As long as he followed this passage, the murderous Kai would be extremely weak. Realizing this, he suppressed the excitement in his heart and sped up. His ship soon disappeared. What's going on? Why did I see Jiyu Shu immortal monarch go into the river on a boat alone? Did I see wrong? The white-haired Gari Xiangqing stared at the river in shock. There were a few people next to him. Some came from the Junyang Hotel, some joined halfway. You didn't see wrong, there's a tunnel here. The murderous Kai is extremely thin. Jiyu Shu left from this tunnel. The scrawny old man frowned at the tunnel. The old man and the woman glanced at each other. There would be tides on the river every 100,000 years. This would result in regions of weak murderous Kai. Tunnels like this would form, and only then could one get in the Lightning Kill Palace easily. Otherwise, more than 10 immortal emperors would have to join up to go in. Even with that, there would have to be immortal god body cultivators. But this wasn't at that time. How could there be such a tunnel? The scrawny old man and the old woman knew why they came here. They didn't come for the palace. If they could, they would have long gone. They came for Yi Mo. Yi Mo could easily take out an extreme-grade immortal range and emperor would blue fruit. This meant that he had a lot of good things on him. Of course, if Yi Mo didn't dare to go into the river, they would still follow him. Unless he has a treasure that can split the murderous Kai. The old woman's spirit sense scanned the tunnel and frowned. The old man sneered, since there's a tunnel here and any immortal king can go through it, there's no need to team up. Then, the old man released an immortal ship and soon disappeared on it. Seeing this, the old woman didn't waste time too. She brought her disciple and disappeared in the tunnel. The rest of the people all released their immortal ships and went into the tunnel. The three had stopped now. They were at the center of the river. A whirlpool appeared before them. The map pointed to this whirlpool. This whirlpool was very strange. There was not a drop of water inside. The water of the river seemed to have went around the whirlpool. This whirlpool was like a well in a river. It was very eerie. It's probably here, Yu Lushing said. Let's jump in together. Yi Mo's spirit sense scanned a sliver of lightning source murderous Kai. Yi Mo didn't need to absorb these murderous Kai anymore. He just needed to find a place to settle and then fuse the killing force into his god art. His Tao wasn't the Tao of carnage, so he didn't need to keep devouring murderous Kai here. He just needed to understand the killing force inside. Yi Mo jumped down first. To prevent the couple from being affected by the murderous Kai, he devoured the murderous Kai here. In the tunnel, Yi Mo's spirit sense saw a big palace. Moments later, the three and shadowless lad Ned in this palace with lightning flickering everywhere. There was less murderous Kai in here. The palace was huge and there was spirit sense restriction. Yi Mo's spirit sense couldn't even see what the border of the palace was. Thank you, Brother Yi. Without you we would never be able to make it here. This is the outer palace. Yu Lushing bowed to Yi Mo, thanking him from the bottom of his heart. Yi Mo didn't mind and said, without your map I wouldn't be able to find here. We're collaborating. I need to go in alone to find something. I believe you guys are doing the same. When we leave, you guys can leave with me. Yu Lusheng bowed. Brother Yi, we already troubled you enough. Even for this well, if you didn't refine the murderous Kai, we wouldn't be able to go in. We didn't put in any effort on the way. If we still need to trouble you to go out, then we would be too useless. We have transmission space rune. We can leave at any time. Shi Qiong saluted with higher fists and said, Yes, Brother Yi, so let's split off here. We're leaving the Abyssal River after this palace too. Oh no. Yi Mo suddenly thought of something. What's wrong? Yu Lusheng looked at Yi Mo with confusion. Yi Mo patted his head. I've been devouring murderous Kai on the way and forgot that it would form a tunnel for some time. This is pretty much telling people how we got here, and we paved the path for them for free. Yi Mo was in a state of enlightenment as he learned his god art. He didn't think of this. Then Yi Mo stopped Yu Lusheng from talking. It's pointless, people are already here. We don't have time to block that tunnel. As soon as Yi Mo said this, a middle-aged man, what dark spots on his face, landed not far from them. Jiyu Shu, Immortal Monarch. Yu Lusheng recognized this person. So you two got here first. It seems you got some nice immortal artifact. The middle-aged man recognized the couple. As for Yi Mo, he ignored him. Shadowless looked extraordinary, but he didn't care. Yu Lusheng's face sunk. Although their cultivation level was weaker than Jiyu Shu, Immortal Monarch, they weren't scared of him. Boss, who is this kid? Should I eat him in one gulp? Shadowless bared his teeth towards Jiyu Shu, Immortal Monarch. Haha, nice pet. It wants to eat an Immortal Monarch in one go. No wonder you don't want to team up with us. You can come here alone. A sharp voice sounded. It was that old woman. As soon as she said this, the scrawny old man landed first in the palace. The old woman followed and another 9 figures landed. Your immortal pet is quite nice. The old man stared at Shadowless and laughed. He was shocked about who Yi Mo was. How did he have so many good things? Qian Bei. Yu Lusheng greeted them. Yi Mo could ignore the two, but they couldn't. Yi Mo, you really have a lot of good things. The old woman laughed bleakly while staring at Shadowless for a long while. Brother Yi. Yu Lusheng was a bit worried. He didn't know Yi Mo's cultivation level, but that old woman was an immortal emperor. Brother Yi. Yu Lusheng was a bit worried. He didn't know Yi Mo's cultivation level, but that old woman was an immortal emperor. Seeing Yu Lusheng worry, Yi Mo immediately said, Brother Yu, you guys go first. Don't worry about me. By the way, my sect is Gonghua Heaven's Mo Yu Immortal Sect. You can visit my sect when you're free. Yu Lusheng was dazed. How could Yi Mo say that? Even if he was going to say this, it should be via sound transmission. Why would Yi Mo expose who he was? Even if Yi Mo ran away today, they could find his sect. But he couldn't really point out Yi Mo's fault and could only saluted with his fists. If there's a chance to, we'll definitely come visit. Goodbye. Then, the two dashed into the palace. Yi Mo wasn't scared, of course. He didn't need to hide his sect. People from everywhere already knew. These people just hadn't gone out yet and thus didn't know. Seeing Yi Mo tell them his sect name without hesitation, the scrawny old man and the old woman frowned. Yi Mo didn't seem to be an idiot. Why did he say something this stupid? Everyone go do your own things. The scrawny old man didn't expect Yi Mo didn't even hide who he was. He was more surprised that Yi Mo came from a low heaven domain sect. If that was the case, things would be much easier. Many people wanted to go, but these two immortal emperors hadn't spoken yet. Now that the scrawny old man said this, they all saluted with their fists and left. Soon, only the scrawny old man, the old woman, and Yi Mo remained. Yi Mo, your immortal pet is really good. It paved the way when you came, right? I'm always staying near the river. I really lack a pet like this. Name a price, I'll have him. Cai Liu couldn't be bothered pretending. You can't afford it. Yi Mo scorned. A mere immortal emperor middle stage dared to threaten him. Since the emperor can't afford it, then I won't buy it. After taking the pet, I can't even be bothered looking at the other things. The old woman's tone turned tough and a jade staff appeared before her head. The scrawny old man laughed and actually took a step back. Yimo's pet was good, but he understood the old woman's words. She only wanted the pet and the rest of the things were his. Seeing Yimo not even move after she released her magic artifact, the old woman was completely furious. A mere body refinement cultivator dared to take her this lightly. Was he the only body refinement cultivator in this world? In her fury, the jade staff swept up a green veil that completely enveloped Yimo. At the same time, her immortal emperor domain was extended. She didn't plan to kill Yimo immediately. She had planned to teach this guy a lesson first. The violent green color squeezed at Yimo like spilling mercury. If Yimo was really an immortal king, he would be squeezed into pieces by this domain. Shadowless opened his mouth and didn't even devour the domain. To him, this old woman was so weak that he didn't need to help. At the same time, Yimo's domain expanded. Cracking sounds appeared and the old woman's face changed. She felt her domain cracking under Yimo's domain. Staff. The old woman felt Yimo's immortal essence even more powerful than hers and her face changed. Her staff turned into a green color that was filled with dead Kai. When Yimo released Zishu, Shadowless couldn't resist biting. With a crack, the old woman's immortal emperor domain instantly crippled and cracked open. A purple ray swept all the nearby killing force and hacked open her green death Kai. Rumble Zishu sword ray clashed with her staff, easily tearing open the green rays. When the fierce killing force bound the old woman, she completely realized that she was nothing to Yimo. No wonder Yimo didn't consider her a threat. With his power, how could she even be a threat to him? Splurge the purple sword ray drew a gash on the old woman. Devour domain. How could the old man not realize that he saw wrong? This Yimo could easily kill an immortal emperor middle stage. In that case, even he was no match for him. Not only that, his pet could devour immortal emperor domains. When he saw Yimo's god art clearly, the old man smashed out a red mist. At the same time, his scrawny bold grew tall and bulky. The red mist instantly went into Yimo's domain, forming red ripples and blocking the purple ray. Crack. The red mist instantly went into Yimo's domain, forming a wall of red ripples blocking before Yimo's purple ray. Crack. Yimo's crevice god art carried space lethal force and smashed on the red ripple wall. The next moment, the wall was filled with cracks and the purple rays ended, unable to pursue the old woman. Light cracking sounds also came from the ground. The extremely hard lightning kill god palace floor had small cracks. The old woman picked up her broken arm and connected it with a pale face. The young girl she brought had a purple face. She had never seen her master completely lose in one move and lose an arm. If the old man didn't help, her master would be in a worse position. The red mist wall magic artifact had disappeared. Clearly the scrawny old man put it away, but his tree skin face was full of shock. No wonder you're so cocky, you're already immortal emperor tertiary stage. Yimo felt the old man's power as soon as he fought. The scrawny old man was even more shocked and saluted with his fists to Yimo seriously. Good eyes, immortal friend, good god art. My god art is ordinary, I've cultivated for too short a time, but your god art is quite amazing. You probably cultivated it countless times, amazing. Yimo raised his thumb towards the old man. The scrawny old man was even more shocked. Did this mean that Yimo could see his origin? Yimo ignored the scrawny old man and walked towards the old woman carrying Zishu. You still haven't taken my immortal pet yet, why are you leaving? I'm blind, I'm willing to compensate for any losses. How could the old woman not know that if she kept fighting, she would die? She might be able to use a space transmission rune, but if she left, her disciple would be dead for certain. No wonder Yimo wasn't scared to have his origin known. With his dominance, who would dare to look for trouble with him? She began to doubt whether the scrawny old man saw wrong. Yimo had such powerful immortal essence and spirit sense, how could he not be an immortal emperor? She knew she hadn't used her real god art yet, but seeing how relaxed Yimo was, she knew that even if she used her trump card she would be no match. The scrawny old man landed next to the old woman and saluted with his fists. Immortal friend Yi, I saw wrong, please have mercy. Martial sister Cai Liu and I are willing to compensate for your losses. The old woman knew what the scrawny old man meant. If they joined up they could defend against Yi Mo, but if they separated they had no right to talk to Yi Mo. Yi Mo laughed. Do you have something that I would want? If not, then move to the side, I will deal with you later. I have Junyang's wine recipe. If you're willing I can give it to you. The old man returned to his scrawny look. You're with that Junyang. Yi Mo's tone was contemptuous. This guy didn't admit it before, but now he admitted it himself. The scrawny old man didn't explain and just took out a jade slip and threw it to Yi Mo. Yi Mo's spirit sense scanned in. It was indeed the recipe for the wine. There were all sorts of wines inside, including Junyang's wine. The scrawny old man didn't explain and just took out a jade slip and threw it to Yi Mo. Yi Mo's spirit sense scanned in. It was indeed the recipe for the wine. There were all sorts of wines inside, including Junyang's wine. It seems you're very good at making wine. Yi Mo put away the jade slip while his killing intent slowly dissipated. His tone was scornful. You have a share of Junyang's hotel? The old woman looked at the scrawny old man in surprise. Yi Mo glanced at the old woman. Little Mud has given the road toll, where's yours? I don't see it. The scrawny old man got angry. Yi Mo, I gave you the recipe for the wine and didn't ask for the emperor wood blue fruit, what else do you want? I was just showing some respect to you on behalf of the both of us. Since when did it become road toll? He was regretting to the extreme now. He should have used the recipe to trade the emperor wood blue fruit. Now, he gave the recipe but didn't get the fruit. I opened the path into the palace. You guys came in without any effort, don't you need to pay a road toll? You guys come in ungratefully and try to rob my immortal pet. Do you think I'm easy to abuse because my cultivation level is low? Yi Mo asked coldly. What do you want? The old woman stared at Yi Mo. She knew that if she pissed Yi Mo off, Yi Mo would really kill her. Even if she abandoned her disciple, she only had a 50% chance of running away. Level 9 immortal pills and level 9 immortal artifacts are trash to me. I don't even care about level 9 immortal spirit herbs. What can you give me? Yi Mo asked. The old woman and the scrawny old man's faces changed. Level 9 immortal things were trash to Yi Mo. What did he want? Yi Mo really didn't intend to get anything from the old woman. He said these things to see if the old woman knew some specific secrets about the palace. Yi Mo didn't believe she had no secrets when she was the one who proposed to the team to come here. Seeing the old woman with a sunken face, Yi Mo wanted to remind her when she suddenly took out an arrow from her storage ring and threw it at Yi Mo. This arrow is from the golden bow of immortal extermination. It's not something ordinary level 9 immortal spirit items can compare with. If you're still not satisfied, then even if I die I will fight you. Yi Mo grabbed the arrow. When he took it, he felt it was exactly the same as the first arrow. He almost couldn't contain his excitement. Yi Mo didn't expect that before he even started looking, he got the second arrow. This is not bad, I'll take it. Yi Mo forced down his excitement as he played with the arrow calmly. Seeing Yi Mo take her thing, the old woman breathed easy. As she used her immortal essence, the broken arm was connected to her. Seeing that you're so genuine, I'll tell you something. Yi Mo looked at the old woman and suddenly smiled. What? The old woman looked at Yi Mo warily. This is my guess. Little Mud stayed at the Qing Wei Abyssal River all these years probably to recover his cultivation level. Of course he's relying on the murderous Kai and Junyang wine. Perhaps he made the Junyang wine. Yi Mo scanned the scrawny old man and said. The scrawny old man sneered and was about to leave. Yi Mo said calmly, I heard many years ago, someone used a broken heaven domain and smashed a divine emperor to death. I wonder if that divine emperor is really dead or just faking it. Who the hell are you? The scrawny old man suddenly turned around and stared at Yi Mo coldly. If he was threatened by Yi Mo, he would have released his magic artifact and killed Yi Mo already. He knew that if he fought with Yi Mo, he would lose a lot of power even if he didn't lose. The current him couldn't afford that. I've already said who I am, I'm Mo Yu Immortal Sect's sect leader. So what? The old man only used one move, but Yimo already recognized him. His ancient feeling was very similar to Kai Mi. That red rippled wall formed so casually. Yimo had never seen someone use a god art with that ease. Only divine emperors and some top grand emperors would be able to do that. The old man's Kai made Yimo realize that he was definitely once a divine emperor. He stayed at the river to use murderous Kai to recover his power, but another reason was that his cultivation level fell and he could no longer hide his divine emperor Kai. He had to use the murderous Kai here to hide it. Plus, the scrawny old man gave him the recipe. How could Yimo not know? A divine emperor called Little Mud. Yimo thought of that Chu Chen divine emperor who was smashed to death. Tien, the Chen character in Chinese, is made up of the characters for Little and Mud. Seeing that Yimo didn't even care about his threats, the scrawny old man's force sagged down. "You're really a divine emperor?" the old woman asked in shock. The scrawny old man sighed dejectedly. "Yes, I'm Chu Chen, but now I'm no longer a divine emperor." "Yimo, who told you I was smashed to death by another heaven domain?" Yimo had some interest in this Chu Chen divine emperor, but he didn't have time to waste now. He needed to go find the bone arrows and spirit control the one the old woman gave him. "I heard it from an elder in my sect." Yimo didn't lie. Kai Mi was indeed an elder now. "Impossible. How can an elder from your low heaven domain know how I disappeared?" Chu Chen rebuked in contempt. Yimo laughed. "That elder of mine is called Kai Mi. I heard he used to be a divine emperor too." "Kai Mi? He's not dead," Chu Chen said in shock. Then he immediately said, "How can Kai Mi join your sect?" "Because he sees potential in my sect, so he joined." Kai Mi is now an immortal emperor elder of Mo Yu immortal sect. Chu Chen opened his mouth and eventually said nothing. He actually believed Yimo a little. Yimo definitely wasn't old and his cultivation level seemed immortal monarch tertiary stage, but his battle power is no weaker than immortal emperor tertiary stage. This was unheard of. If there was a prodigal immortal king tertiary stage peak who could kill an immortal monarch middle stage, Chu Chen divine emperor would believe it a little, but the difference between immortal monarch and immortal emperor was like heaven and earth. An immortal emperor primary stage could easily kill a few immortal monarch tertiary stages. Yimo was a mere immortal monarch, but he could kill immortal emperor middle stage. Even with the help of his pet, this was absurd. "Chu Chen, I heard you say you can find some life corners in here. It seems you're quite familiar with this place. Can you sell me a jade slip?" Yimo smiled and wanted to pat Chu Chen's shoulders. Chu Chen divine emperor dodged and said, "No." Then he ignored Yimo and left like the other immortal monarchs. Seeing this old woman about to go, Yimo suddenly said, "Where did you get that bone arrow? Is it from the palace?" "No, a few thousand years ago an immortal emperor escaped from the river. He was heavily injured. I saved him and he repaid me with this," the old woman said and looked vigilantly at Yimo. Yimo doubted her words. He suspected she killed that guy and robbed his things, but regardless, Yimo wasn't interested. Seeing Yimo stop bothering her, she saluted with her fists to Yimo and took her disciple and disappeared. Yimo soon left. 15 minutes later, he found a corner to set up a stealth formation and took out the time formation disc as he went in. He had to spirit control this bone arrow first. Yimo didn't choose to go into the golden page world in here. With 2 bone arrows, even if he encountered a top-level master, he would have more confidence. Yimo spirit controlled the bone arrows once. The first time it took him nearly 3 years to refine the 48 restrictions. But this was the second time and he was familiar with the restrictions. According to what Yimo thought, he only needed less than 1 month to spirit control it. Yimo spirit controlled the bone arrows once. The first time it took him nearly 3 years to refine the 48 restrictions. But this was the second time and he was familiar with the restrictions. According to what Yimo thought, he only needed less than 1 month to spirit control it. 1 month in the time formation disk was less than half a day outside. It didn't affect him finding things in the palace at all. But the time formation disk ran for a day and Yimo only spirit controlled to the 13th restriction. Yimo put away the time formation disk in disappointment. He didn't expect that the restrictions of the second arrow was completely different to the first one. This meant that the two bone arrows were forged with different means. The restrictions were similar but weren't the same type. The person who forged this bow and arrow was a genius. If Yi Mo wanted to spirit control the 48 levels, he would need more than a year. Yi Mo couldn't waste that much time in the outer palace, so he stopped spirit controlling the bone arrow. Yi Mo put away the time formation disc and stealth formation and quickly went into the depth of the palace. As Yi Mo went deeper into the lightning kill palace, he felt another murderous Kai. This murderous Kai was different to the murderous Kai on the river but was also very sharp. There was also a sliver of lightning in this murderous Kai. Yi Mo was certain that ordinary Immortal King and Immortal Monarch primary stage wouldn't be able to stay for long if they didn't have special means. He didn't know how the previous Immortal Monarchs came here. The murderous Kai here was powerful but couldn't affect Yi Mo at all. Yi Mo easily passed through this area. Rows of broken restriction appeared before Yi Mo. There were even some dried skeletons here. These were clearly restrictions with things inside, but the restrictions were broken and the things inside were gone. Yi Mo carefully took shadowless past these broken restrictions. A grey mist path appeared before Yi Mo. There was extremely fierce killing Kai inside but much less murderous. This wasn't anything to Yi Mo and was even weaker than the Kai on the river. He took shadowless in the tunnel without hesitation. There were some scattered bones along the tunnel. Clearly, some immortals had been killed by this tunnel. After this tunnel, Yi Mo saw more broken restrictions. However, unlike before, there were some restrictions not yet broken. A few Immortal Monarchs were attacking these unbroken restrictions. Yi Mo had never seen these few Immortal Monarchs. Clearly, while he was spirit controlling the bone arrow, more people come. Yi Mo took shadowless inside and those Immortal Monarchs started at Yi Mo in shock. When they saw Yi Mo had no wounds on him, they started attacking that restriction again. No one came to talk to Yi Mo. The palace seemed to have a simple layout. Yi Mo didn't stop and took shadowless past these broken restrictions and went into the next tunnel. The murderous Kai here was much fiercer than before. On top of that, there was a sliver of heart demon calling. How are you fine? That dark-spotted Immortal Monarch tertiary stage looked at Yi Mo in shock. Clearly, they saw the scrawny old man and the old woman pass here. They thought Yi Mo was dead for sure, but it's been a day and Yi Mo appeared here too. Yi Mo looked at this level 3 palace. Most of the Immortal Monarchs were here. He saw the long-haired Immortal Monarch and that monk-like Immortal Monarch fro the Junyang Hotel. However, the white-skinned Immortal King tertiary stage was gone. Yi Mo didn't see Yu Lushan couple. They were probably either gone or at somewhere else. A little less than half the restrictions in here had been broken, but there were quite some complete restrictions. Yi Mo knew this black-spotted Immortal Monarch. He was called Jiyu Shu. But of course Yi Mo wasn't going to talk to him. He was going to take shadowless to the next level. Seeing Yi Mo ignore him, Jiyu Shu was about to go up to talk. Just at this moment, a sudden rumbling sound appeared in the palace. An extremely terrifying sharp killing Kai bursted out. It was far more powerful than the killing Kai in the tunnel. The 3 Immortal Monarch primary stages couldn't even resist against this and was grinded to pieces. The rest of the Immortal Monarchs no longer dared to keep attacking the restrictions. They all released their magic artifacts. Yi Mo's spirit sense domain extended out. Those killing Kai immediately calmed down on contact with his spirit sense domain and normal domain. Shadowless gulped on the side and the calmed down killing Kai were actually all devoured. The killing Kai came and left quickly. Moments later, it disappeared from this hall. After that, only 4 Immortal Monarchs remained alive in the hall. Even so, they were covered in wounds. Their faces were pale and eyes fearful. Jiyu Shu Immortal Monarch was fine but was also injured by the killing Kai. When he looked up and saw Yi Mo was completely fine and didn't even half a single fold on his clothes, there was shock and fear in his eyes. Yi Mo ignored Jiyu Shu but shadowless sneezed at him. "Kid, the next time you dare to act cocky to me I'll eat you." Yi Mo shook his head. Shadowless lacked vocabulary, it's always eating. Yi Mo didn't care about this mere Immortal Monarch. He sped up and went into the tunnel to the next level. The bone arrows weren't simple. Even in this palace, It probably wouldn't be in the outer palace. In this tunnel, there weren't only murderous Kai but also dense clusters of lightning attacks. To others, this tunnel was many times harder than the previous one. Even lightning immortal spirit root immortals wouldn't dare to face this lightning. Even Shadowless didn't dare to face this lightning alone. To Yi Mo, the lightning arcs were easier than the previous tunnels. When he came in, those lightning arcs struck him. He devoured some and the rest didn't affect him at all. After passing this tunnel, Yi Mo found the hall to be smaller than before. Despite that, there were tens of restrictions inside and not many were broken. The palace was empty and even Yi Mo's spirit sense could only scan within a 100-meter radius. "I'll open a restriction." Shadowless charged up to a restriction and smacked down with his leg. Before Yi Mo could speak, Shadowless already stepped on this restriction. At the same time, a terrifying sound erupted in the hall as though it was divine damnation. Shadowless was so scared that he quickly hid behind Yi Mo. The next moment, countless lightning arcs and lightning smashed down. They instantly filled the entire palace. Yi Mo and Shadowless was drowned in this lightning. But Yi Mo didn't care, he felt this lightning kill palace was very familiar. Yi Mo soon remembered why he had this feeling. He felt this feeling when he was in that lethal force dimension palace. The restrictions here were pretty much similar to the same. Due to this discovery, Yi Mo believed more that the person who set up the palace in the lethal force dimension came from the same place as the person who left this palace. Yi Mo soon remembered why he had this feeling. He felt this feeling when he was in that lethal force dimension palace. The restrictions here were pretty much similar to the same. Due to this discovery, Yi Mo believed more that the person who set up the palace in the lethal force dimension came from the same place as the person who left this palace. Seeing Shadowless have some trouble defending against the lightning, Yi Mo threw Shadowless into the golden page world. He didn't care if he faced the endless lightning alone. Yi Mo walked up to the restriction Shadowless attacked and hacked with Zishu. Unlike others, he could see a little of what was inside the restriction. This strike hacked at the weak part of the restriction. In just one strike, a crack opened in the restriction. After that, more lightning rained down in the palace. Yi Mo didn't care at all and hacked out again. The restriction cracked and was completely hacked apart by Yi Mo's strikes. Yi Mo looked at the empty restriction and was very disappointed. It seemed not all the restrictions here had things. Many restrictions were empty. Yi Mo hacked open a few restrictions but found 90% of them were empty. Only from one restriction did Yi Mo get a small dagger. When he grabbed it, Yi Mo felt a powerful pulling force that seemed to want to teleport him out. Yi Mo's spirit sense domain and domain quickly extended out blocking this power. Then, he began looking at the dagger in his hand. It was only 9 cms. Yi Mo scanned with his spirit sense and found that he couldn't see through the restriction on it. Yi Mo put the dagger into the golden page world and immediately felt the pulling power become much weaker. He wasn't interested in opening more restrictions here, so he sped up going forward. The more forward Yi Mo went, the denser the lightning was. However, he no longer saw more tunnels. The path was completely covered with lightning and all sorts of fierce killing Kai. This lightning was mixed with murderous killing intent. Yi Mo thought that this was indeed the lightning kill god palace. Even an immortal emperor might not be able to get forward safely. Yi Mo wondered if Yu Lushan couple got here and if Chu Chen divine emperor and the old woman could come here. Half an hour later, Yi Mo felt the place he was going getting more and more narrow and slanted. It was as though he was walking into the depth of the earth. At the same time, Yi Mo's spirit sense was getting more and more suppressed, so he used Spirit Will 9 Transformations' God Art Rainbow. His spirit sense formed an invisible sword rainbow and swept out. Immediately, the spirit sense binding was broken. The scene within 10 kilometers were in his sea of consciousness. He saw Chu Chen divine emperor and the old woman. The immortal king disciple of hers was completely fine. They stood at a place and there seemed to be less lightning at that place. Yi Mo immediately realized that was so-called the life corner. Other than these two, Yi Mo scanned 2 more. They were standing at a spot with very little lightning. That was probably a life corner. One of them was an Immortal Emperor primary stage and one was Immortal Emperor tertiary stage. Yimo's spirit sense scanned the four and they immediately sensed it. However, Yimo could see them but they couldn't see Yimo. Only Chu Chen Divine Emperor frowned and glanced at Yimo's position but shook his head. Just when Yimo wanted to go over, the four got up at the same direction and dashed in a direction. The next moment, they disappeared from Yimo's spirit sense. Yimo sped up too. In a few seconds he came to where they disappeared but there was a space formation door. Seeing four Immortal Emperors go in, Yimo went in without hesitation. As soon as Yimo did, the nearby lightning and lethal force grew scarce. He found himself in a golden stairway palace. As soon as Yimo came here, Chu Chen and the old woman noticed but they said nothing. The other two Immortal Emperors stared at Yimo with uncertainty. All those who could come here were either Immortal Emperor or came with Immortal Emperor. Now Yimo was here. Although he showed his power to be Immortal King middle stage, he was probably an Immortal Emperor. They were confused because they haven't seen Yimo before. There were 6 Immortal Emperors always staying at the river and they all knew each other but they have never seen Yimo. Immortal friend, how come you seem unfamiliar? The Immortal Emperor tertiary stage saluted with his fists to Yimo. He looked amicable. Yimo smiled, I'm a passerby, so I came to see. No need to mind me at this moment. Yimo's spirit sense had seen this entire palace completely. The further one went ahead, the narrowest the stairs became and the more lightning there was. They were standing at the bottom of the stairs. As they went up, there would be denser lightning arcs and lethal force. There was no life corners anymore. One spirit sense couldn't reach into the lightning killing force. One couldn't see what was on the other side of the stairs. Yimo didn't use spirit sense rainbow to check. Even if he wouldn't do it in front of the other Immortal Emperors. All the Immortal Emperors came here clearly because this was where the good things were. We have 5 Immortal Emperors here. Although it's not many but we can stack our domains together and release our defense magic artifacts. We might still be able to get inside. The only Immortal Emperor primary stage said. I'm fine with it. The Immortal Emperor tertiary stage said. Chu Chen Divine Emperor and the old woman nodded, I'm fine too. Seeing Yimo not talk, everyone looked at Yimo. Yimo turned back and smiled, you guys can team up, I like to go alone. Then, Yimo sped up and walked on the stairway. Hearing this, Chu Chen Divine Emperor and the old woman seemed normal as they had seen Yimo's power but that Immortal Emperor primary stage's face sunk and said coldly, insolent fool, are you the only Immortal Emperor here? Who isn't an Immortal Emperor here? Yimo heard this Immortal Emperor primary stage of course but he didn't have time to waste here. Brother Little Mud, this person is too cocky. We've been at the river all these years but haven't seen someone as cocky as him. The Immortal Emperor primary stage saluted with his fists to the scrawny old man. He was Immortal Emperor primary stage but at the peak, he was just one step away from middle stage. In terms of power, he was on par with the old woman and could even suppress her. Chu Chen Immortal Emperor coughed a few times before saying, oh, I've seen Yimo at Junyang Hotel, I can't really say much. Cough, cough, cough. Hearing this, the Immortal Emperor primary stage knew that Chu Chen Divine Emperor didn't want to help. He wasn't asking Chu Chen Divine Emperor to help. He just wanted to notify Chu Chen Divine Emperor in case he was no match for Yimo. He wanted the scrawny old man to resolve the conflict. Yimo seemed to be an Immortal King middle stage but only an idiot would take him for one. Yimo didn't look very old so he suspected Yimo was an Immortal Emperor primary stage. He didn't ask the old woman and then turned his eyes to Immortal Emperor tertiary stage. Brother Kuang, I'm going to teach this guy a lesson. The Immortal Emperor tertiary stage smiled bitterly and interrupted him while pointing at Yimo. Infar Immortal Emperor, have a look. Do you think you can do it? If so, then go challenge him. Yin Fa Immortal Emperor just noticed Yimo. Yimo had walked into the lightning lethal force. The dense cluster of lightning arcs and lethal force had completely enveloped him but he was completely fine. Yin Fa Immortal Emperor just noticed Yimo. Yimo had walked into the lightning lethal force. The dense cluster of lightning arcs and lethal force had completely enveloped him but he was completely fine. Yin Fa Immortal Emperor stared at Yimo with shock. He knew that to walk in the lightning arcs, at least a few immortal emperors must stack their domains together. He thought Yimo would stop after feeling the pressure, but the reality was completely opposite. Just who was this person? How could he walk into there alone? It's not that immortal pet, he can do it himself. Chu Chen Divine Emperor murmured. Chu Chen Divine Emperor originally thought that the reason Yimo could pave a path on the river was due to his strange pet. Chu Chen Divine Emperor even thought that the pet was no immortal pet but god beast. When he saw Yimo go into the lightning freely, he knew he completely guessed wrong. Martial Sister Cai Liu, who is he? Is he very strong? Yin Fa Immortal Emperor woke up and asked the old woman. The old woman sneered, if he wants to kill you he wouldn't need more than 15 minutes. Yin Fa Immortal Emperor took in a cold breath and felt timid. Luckily that Immortal Emperor wasn't someone to start trouble. If it was some strange-tempered guy, he might be fighting Yimo now. We'll join our domains and go in. Staying here isn't the way. Chu Chen Divine Emperor said, seeing that Yimo's spirit sense had disappeared from spirit sense. The other people immediately agreed. The immortal emperors released their defense magic artifacts and walked onto the stairway together. As for the old woman's disciple, she was sent into a small world. The lightning lethal force here was strong, but for Yimo, it didn't affect him much. He was devouring part of the lightning arc lethal force. A part of it hit his immortal god body middle stage body and couldn't do much damage. When Yimo's spirit sense completely couldn't see Chu Chen Divine Emperor and them, he used a rainbow cut to break open here. Yimo's spirit sense could clearly see what was ahead. More than 10 lightning arc tunnels appeared in his spirit sense. There seemed to be different things in each. Yimo immediately realized that this was a really good place to cultivate Carnage God Art. If he learned all the killing Kai here, then his Carnage God Art would be in great completion. But Yimo wasn't interested in this. He cultivated 3 birth chant not Carnage God Art. Yimo's spirit sense scanned into one of the tunnels and a jade platform restriction appeared in his spirit sense. Some of the restrictions were broken. There was a platform after every restriction and a rink. They were shaped in different forms but were all in the form of swords. When Yimo's spirit sense scanned another tunnel, he also saw another jade stone platform. However, the rink were spear-shaped. Yimo soon realized that the platforms were for placing magic artifact and the empty platforms meant that the magic artifact were taken away. Those platforms with complete restriction would have top magic artifacts inside. Realizing this, Yimo's heart lit up. His spirit sense scanned in a few more tunnels. He had to find which tunnel Golden Bone Arrow was. Tens of seconds later, Yimo found the tunnel with arrow-shaped magic artifact. It was on the far left. Yimo dashed in without hesitation. He didn't even care what the other tunnels have. The golden bow of immortal extermination was too useful to him. After going into the tunnel, Yimo immediately sensed that the lightning arcs and murderous Kai in here was completely different to outside. It was calmer at the start, but the deeper you went the more volatile they were. The few jade stone platforms at the front had been broken. Yimo sped up and eventually he even had to use his domain to help defend himself. Yimo passed more than 10 jadestone platforms but some of the restrictions were broken. There were some unbroken but Yimo didn't touch it. Yimo wasn't looking for any arrow, he was looking for the golden bone arrow. These rinks were very ordinary, there was no way it would be the golden bone arrow. At the 13th platform, Yimo finally stopped. The restriction was broken and the rink had the exact print as Yimo's golden bone arrow. However, it was empty. Yimo came to the next platform but the restriction was also broken. The shape was exactly the same as the bone arrow. 15th, 16th platform. When Yimo reached the 18th platform and saw the restriction was also broken, his heart sunk. He didn't check one by one, he knew these 9 platforms would be joined together. Yimo scanned with his spirit sense and indeed found that till the 20th platform, the restrictions were all broken. There was only the 21st platform and the restriction here wasn't broken. However, even with his spirit sense and using rainbow technique, he felt it difficult here. Yimo took back his Spirit Sense God artifact and stacked his Spirit Sense domain with his immortal monarch domain. He carefully moved forward. At the latter part of the tunnel even he felt it was tough. How did the previous 20 people come in here? This wasn't a place ordinary immortal emperors could come in. Zhizong Immortal Emperor would at most be able to come to the 9th platform, and this was if he relied on a top magic artifact. Otherwise, he couldn't be able to come to here. Zhizong Immortal Emperor definitely had some magic artifact or someone to help him take the golden bow of immortal extermination. However, he didn't get Zhizong Immortal Emperor's storage ring, so he doesn't know. Yimo came to the 21st platform and found that this was the final platform. Thinking about all the other platforms left, Yimo's dejected mood was a little better. He had decided to break the restriction here and then go to other tunnels. This was a similar restriction to the one in the Void Palace. Yimo spent 15 minutes to study this restriction and then hacked down with Zishu. Rumble, Zishu sword ray was blocked completely and Yimo was shaken a few meters away. Such powerful restriction. Yimo didn't expect he could break it in one strike. He hacked another strike. The rumbling sound mixed in with the lightning sound in this tunnel, creating an echo. Yimo hacked down again and again. The restriction cracked a little under Yimo's attack, but they soon repaired. Yimo attacked faster and faster and the marks he made were deeper and deeper. When he saw the crack get larger, Yimo found in shock that there seemed to be an extremely powerful force in the palace pulling him, wanting to teleport him away. Yimo was shocked and quickly smashed out Zishu. Eventually, he even used Crevice God Art. Crack. Finally, the restriction was completely broken and the Jadestone platform appeared. A faint golden bone arrow was placed in the center of the rink. Yimo rejoiced and grabbed that bone arrow without hesitation. As soon as it came in his hand, the terrifying killing intent let Yimo know that he got the real golden bone arrow. A faint golden bone arrow was placed in the center of the rink. Yimo rejoiced and grabbed that bone arrow without hesitation. As soon as it came in his hand, the terrifying killing intent let Yimo know that he got the real golden bone arrow. Immediately, that terrifying teleportation power filled all of Yimo's body and was about to tear Yimo away, not allowing him to stay in here anymore. Yimo's Spirit Sense domain and domain smashed out and could only barely stop this pulling power. Yimo clearly didn't want to be teleported out like this. There were so many good things here. He quickly sent the golden bone arrow into the golden page world and prepared to defend against this pulling power with all of his might. The same time the gold arrow was thrown in the golden page world, the pulling force grew much less but was still there. It just wasn't as scary as before. Yimo breathed easy. If he didn't have the golden page world, he would definitely not be able to resist the pulling force. From this, Yimo believed that ordinary people could only take one item away here. How did Zhizong Immortal Emperor take the bow and the arrow? Yimo didn't keep breaking the restrictions here. He probably only had one more chance. Even if he was teleported out, he would spend a lot of time to come back in. After leaving this tunnel, Yimo started using his Spirit Sense God Art to see what was inside the restrictions. He only had one chance, so he had to find something suitable for him. Yimo's Spirit Sense scanned and each tunnel seemed to be filled with different magic artifacts. Yimo had decided that if he couldn't find anything really good in these tunnels, he would go to the sword tunnel to find a sword he need. But soon, Yimo realized that there were too many good things here. One tunnel was filled with all sorts of pill cauldrons. This itched Yimo's heart. Although he had a Shunnong cauldron and a low-grade god artifact, but as a peak immortal pill grandmaster, it was better to have more pill cauldrons. Yimo resisted the urge to go into the pill cauldron tunnel and kept scanning his Spirit Sense. His heart itched more. He saw flying magic artifact tunnel. Flying boats, ships, carts. Yimo wanted to go in and find a top-level flying magic artifact and swap out his fake spacetime boat. He was a level 8 immortal forgery grandmaster, but he couldn't forge his own flying god artifact. Plus, he didn't have the materials to make one. When Yimo's Spirit Sense scanned the most right tunnel, he was dazed. There were only 3 platforms there and 2 of them were broken. Each platform were bead-shaped and had 12 rinks on each platform. The shape was quite familiar. Yimo subconsciously took out the 12 lightning orbs he had. This was the lightning sea god orbs he was finding for Yimo. At the time, he was only hollow immortal and fought a golden immortal for this and almost died. Yimo immediately charged into the right tunnel. Yimo even thought he had collected all 36 orbs. Yimo had 12 on her and he had 12. He found another 12 here. Then wasn't it complete? Yimo started attacking the third platform restriction. As he attacked, he threw out formation flags. He knew he could use formations to help him. The restriction here was stronger than the restriction for the golden bone arrow. Yimo even suspected that the restriction was attacked before and didn't break, that's why it was left here. Zishu hacked out purple ray god art while Yimo threw out break formation flags. Half a day later, the restriction was completely surrounded by Yimo's formation flags. Yimo knew that if he could calm down and slowly derive this formation, he would not only be able to solve the restriction and increase his formation knowledge. Attacking it with force now would also help, but not as good as slowly deriving. Yimo didn't have the mood to slowly derive. He felt the more he broke the restriction, the greater the pulling force was. Yimo suspected that if he calmed down to derive he would soon be teleported away. It wasn't easy for him to see this 12 orbs, how could he let himself be teleported away? He used another crevice god art. This time, the god art gathered all the lightning arcs and lethal force nearby and smashed on the brittle restriction. The restriction was instantly torn open, creating a loud thud. 12 orbs with lightning sparks around it appeared before Yimo. Yimo felt it was a bit different to the lightning orbs he got before, but he couldn't care that much. He didn't even check it and just threw it into his golden page world. Rumble. A windpipe-like sound pressed on Yimo. That extremely powerful pulling force stopped Yimo from staying here and teleported away. Yimo felt his head dizzy. When he woke up, he found himself at the side of the Qing Wei abyssal river. This was the place he entered the river. Yimo released an immortal ship and dashed in the river again. This lightning palace had things he had never seen before. How could he leave with just 3 items? The tunnel Yimo had opened before was completely gone. Yimo didn't refine murderous Kai here to pave a way. He just charged at the palace. Yimo was extremely fast and in just half a day he came to that whirlpool place. The whirlpool was still there. Yimo breathed easy. Without hesitation, he dashed into the whirlpool. However, Yimo was extremely disappointed to find that as soon as he went in, he was pushed out by a powerful force. This whirlpool remembered that he came in here and didn't allow him to go in a second time. Yimo fell in the river. When the murderous Kai and killing intent invaded him, Yimo realized that one could either come in here once or would have to wait a long time before coming back again. Yimo thought the powerful being who palmed out the river left this here, but now he abandoned that idea. There was no way he would leave something this orderly here. That person would even destroy the immortal realm. How could he leave this for the immortal realm? This palace was here almost as if to encourage people to increase their power to get the magic artifacts. No wonder those immortal emperors didn't like to come here again and again. Yimo had made up his mind to come back again when his cultivation level was higher. When Yimo was surrounded by the murderous Kai, he felt very uncomfortable all over his body. Just when he wanted to charge out, a figure dashed at him like lightning. It was Abyss Dark Shark. Yimo saw this immediately. He swept his purple sword ray out and blood spread in the water. Although he killed this shark in one strike, he was pushed back tens of meters by the shark's force. A white stone appeared before Yimo. Yimo grabbed it and a powerful killing intent and murderous Kai instantly filled Yimo's sea of consciousness and body. This was wine kill stone, a white one. Yimo remembered that he had the wine recipe but didn't have the stones, so he didn't leave immediately and instead dove into the bottom of the river and started to find the wine kill stone. Yimo was at a place where the murderous Kai came in cycles. This place was easiest to form all sorts of wine kill sotness. Yimo found large amounts of blue and white wine kill stone. He even found a pile of black wine kill stone. 3 days later, Yimo dashed out of the bottom of the river. During this time, he found a few thousand blue and white stones and more than 100 black stones. He even killed a few hundred sharks. There was no more point staying here. Yimo had decided to leave the river and head towards Ice God Palace. 3 days later, Yimo dashed out of the bottom of the river. During this time, he found a few thousand blue and white stones and more than 100 black stones. He even killed a few hundred sharks. There was no more point staying here. Yimo had decided to leave the river and head towards Ice God Palace. After coming back to his ship, Yimo called out Shadowless and let Shadowless control the ship. Shadowless can't defend the murderous Kai at the heart of the river yet. But after these days, Yimo had some understanding of the murderous Kai, plus, he kept breaking the restrictions in the palace. So Yimo set up a few defense formations for the murderous Kai, that way, Shadowless could control the boat. Yimo immediately went into the Golden Page world. He wanted to check if the orbs he got this time was different to the ones he got before. These 12 orbs were bluish-grey out the outside. Yimo took out the 12 orbs he had and placed it with the ones he just got. If he didn't compare, he really wouldn't be able to tell the difference between, but after comparing, Yimo immediately realized that the 12 orbs he got before were fake, just like his space-time boat. The 12 orbs at the Lightning Kill God Palace were the real ones. These 12 orbs contained boundless lightning source killing Kai and endless power. It wasn't something the other 12 orbs could compare with. Yimo put away the 12 real orbs and wasn't really disappointed. Yimo had 12 fake ones, he had 12 fake and 12 real ones. Regardless, he helped Yimo gather 36 lightning orbs. Even though they were fake, the combined power of 36 orbs were extremely powerful. Yimo gave the wine recipe and wine kill stone to small ginseng as he began spirit controlling the golden bone arrow. He had 3 bone arrows now. One of them was spirit controlled to the 48th restriction, one was to the 13th restriction, and the third one wasn't spirit controlled at all. 7 days later, Yimo spirit controlled the second arrow to 48th restriction and then the third one to level 9 when he received news from Shadowless. Yimo immediately took the golden arrows out from the Golden Page world. The third arrow was many times harder than the previous 2 arrows. He needed to find a peaceful place to spirit control it to the 48th level. Leaving the Golden Page world, Yimo realized why Shadowless called him out. There was no direction on the ship. The boat was still on the abyssal river, but the murderous Kai was gone. Instead, it was this soul-freezing coldness. Just like Yu Lushing. The frost here was etched into the bones and even the sea of consciousness and soul. Boss, there's no more way to go. Shadowless pointed at the direction disc on the ship and said. Yimo looked at the direction disc. It stopped moving. Yimo scanned out with his spirit sense. This place seemed to have left the range of Qing Wei Abyssal River. There was less spirit sense restriction and weaker sky restrictions. The sky restriction is much weaker, we'll change to space-time boat. Yimo said and then released the space-time boat. The space-time boat instantly left the misty river and went into a bone-chilling ice forest. Yimo felt that as soon as he left the abyssal river, he was in this forest, there was no middle area. The sky restriction was weaker but was still there. The space-time boat could only travel in the ice forest but couldn't fly too high. Shadowless opened its mouth and sucked. All the nearby ice was sucked into its mouth. Yimo's spirit sense domain and immortal monarch domain reached out. The soul-freezing frostiness eased up a lot. The space-time boat sped up and made light cracking sounds as it traveled this frosty dimension. Yimo had been to a few bone-chilling places. In the cultivation realm, he had been to the ice god Forbidden Grounds. That cold was chilling, but it didn't invade the sea of consciousness and freeze the soul. He was too weak at the time and could only use winter's arrival to devour that coldness. Ever since winter's arrival devoured some ice, it stayed motionless in the Golden Page world. Yimo didn't plan to use winter's arrival. His power was more than tens of millions times stronger than before. This ice god palace really knows how to hide. Who would be able to find a place like this? Even Shadowless' powerful body was shivering. This place is eerie. Yimo suddenly stared at the ice forest and said. Shadowless quickly asked, Boss, what is eerie? Yimo thought of the ice god Forbidden Grounds in South Peace State. He saw a pitiful scene, there were frozen extremely beautiful women everywhere. The The ice mountains here were sleek and slender. This immediately reminded Yi Mo of that scene. In the cultivation realm, I went to the ice god forbidden grounds. I saw a few hundred beautiful women frozen at the outskirts of the forbidden grounds. This ice forest is giving me the same feeling. I don't like this place. Yi Mo sighed. Let me see. Shadowless said and flapped down on an ice peak. Crack. The ice peak cracked and a frozen woman appeared before them. This woman was covered in ice and this ice had the effect to blur spirit sense. Yi Mo took in a cold breath. All these ice peaks were frozen women. How many women died here? Shadowless was shocked and broke a few more ice peaks. They were all extremely beautiful women inside. Shadowless quickly said, Boss, it seems every peak has a woman frozen to death inside. Yi Mo frowned and detested the Ice God Palace even more. This was no good sect. Even if Nai Shuangshuang is there, he would take her away. This sect wasn't suitable for Nai Shuangshuang, he wouldn't allow her to cultivate here. The space-time boat sped up and Shadowless sensed Yi Mo's fury. Its force grew too. If Boss was angry, it meant that there would be battle. If there was battle, then he could eat. Traveling in the ice forest didn't make Yi Mo's body cold. Instead, its temperature soared with his fury. Yi Mo thought of the blue bead small world in the Golden Page world and a woman called Qing Yu. She was from Ice God Palace. When Yi Mo first saw her, he suspected she wasn't from the cultivation realm. The reason he kept the blue bead world in his Golden Page world up until now was mainly because he pitied her. Seeing this pitiful Ice God Palace scene twice, this made him lose good impression of Ice God Palace altogether. If he had time now, he would definitely spirit control that blue bead small world and ask Qing Yu what this was. Yi Mo wasn't someone who liked to mind others' business, but what the Ice God Palace did touched his line. The space-time boat flew for another 2 hours and the ice forest was behind him. The ice peaks that appeared was no longer sleek and slender. It was grand and monumental. That uncomfortable feeling finally disappeared. Although there was ice mountains and peaks everywhere here, the cold that froze essence, spirit and sea of consciousness was gone. These ice peaks should be real, right? Shadowless raised his big foot and kicked on an ice peak. Rumble, this ice peak was kicked to pieces and ice shards flew everywhere. Yi Mo saw this was a real ice peak, no one was inside. Who dares to ravage our Ice God Palace? A cold voice sounded and then a blue-dressed female immortal flew over. Yi Mo's spirit sense already saw this woman. She was extremely beautiful and her body was amazing. She flew over rapidly. She was Immortal King Tertiary Stage Power. Yi Mo's spirit sense already saw this woman. She was extremely beautiful and her body was amazing. She flew over rapidly. She was Immortal King Tertiary Stage Power. Did you guys come from Qing Wei Abyssal River? The Immortal King dazed in front of Yi Mo and Shadowless. She felt a powerful killing kai from Shadowless. Only someone who crossed the Qing Wei Abyssal River would have this, but who could cross the river? Is this Ice God Palace? Yi Mo saluted with his fists and asked. The female Immortal King immediately said, that's right, this is Ice God Palace. Since you know it's our place, why did you break our ice peak? Oh, my pet is stupid, but I already criticized him. Yi Mo said casually. Shadowless looked at Yi Mo speechlessly too. I came to visit Ice God Palace. Palace Lord, lead the way. Yi Mo said. The female Immortal King sneered, do you think you can visit our Palace Lord whenever you want? Our Ice God Palace won't allow outsiders to come. Anyone who enters our domain will be killed. Then, this Immortal King released an ice moon shovel and attacked Yi Mo. Yi Mo had heard of this rule. But with the Ice God Palace being here, ordinary people wouldn't even be able to come here. Yi Mo knew the Ice God Palace probably had a safe and hidden entrance. Only people from the Ice God Palace would know. As for the Immortal King, she didn't have any killing intent when she attacked. She wasn't a bad person and probably just wanted to shoo them off. Yi Mo didn't trouble her and hacked with Shu hacking the spade away. With his power, if he didn't want to show any respect, he could grab the spade with his hand and remove her spirit sense mark very quickly. Before the Immortal King could be shocker, another dashing light came. Martial sister Luo Yu, What is this? An icy cold voice sounded. Yimo and Shadowless studied this woman. She was Immortal Monarch primary stage and was half a head taller than that martial sister. She wore a white immortal robe. If the Immortal King still had a sliver of emotion, the Immortal Monarch had no life force in her voice. It was completely icy cold. Even Shadowless was uncomfortable hearing this voice. Martial Sister Ji Wen, this person brought his immortal pet into our Ice God Palace forbidden grounds. I was planning to capture them. Luo Yu bowed and said, a mere insect, kill them. The Immortal Monarch sneered and released a silver blade hacking at Yimo without asking anything. This silver blade brought tens of thousands of sword rays and swept Yimo and Shadowless in at the same time. The Immortal King couldn't bear to look at them grinded to pieces and subconsciously looked away. Shadowless was furious and bit down. Countless silver blades were immediately devoured and disappeared. A dimmed silver blade fell from the sky and Yimo pulled it into his hands while punching. Before Ji Wen Immortal Monarch could wake up from her shock, Yimo's fist force away. She was punched flying and smashed into a mountain a few hundred meters away. The mountain was pulverized, but she was paralyzed on the ground as she kept spitting blood. Her meridians were broken. Yimo released a blue flame and threw the silver blade into the fire. In a few seconds, the blade was turned to dust. At this moment, Luo Yu Immortal King finally woke up and charged towards her martial sister. She took out a pill and put it into her mouth immediately. She didn't have the time to think how Yimo could beat an Immortal Monarch into heavy injury with one move. Yimo wasn't in a rush to leave, he was waiting for this Immortal King to save her martial sister Ji Wen. He showed mercy just then. If he didn't, that martial sister Ji Wen would have been torn to pieces. Nai Shuangshuang was still in the Ice God Palace. Before he saw Nai Shuangshuang, he didn't want to kill Ice God Palace people. With the help of that Immortal King, the Immortal Monarch's body wasn't destroyed. She was held up by the Immortal King as she stared at Yimo with shock and terror. At this moment, she finally realized that Yimo was Immortal Emperor. At the same time, she sent out a message. He was waiting for the 3 Ice God Palace Lords to come. It really wasn't easy for him to find where the palace was. There were restrictions and stealth formations everywhere. Soon after Ji Wen made the message, 7 dashing lights came over. Yimo's spirit sense saw clearly that the one leading the charge was an Immortal Emperor primary stage. They were all women. The Immortal Emperor seemed even younger than Luo Yu Immortal King. She had a white veil on her face and wore faint green robes. No one could see her real appearance, but just looking at her body, people would know she couldn't be ugly. Out of the 6 people following, 3 were Immortal King tertiary stage and 2 were Immortal Monarch. One was only Great Extreme Immortal. Greet 3rd Palace Lord. When the green-robed Immortal Emperor came, Luo Yu and Ji Wen immediately bowed. So this was Ice God Palace 3rd Palace Lord. Yu Xie was right, the 3 Palace Lords were all Immortal Emperors. It was the 2nd Palace Lord who took Nai Shuangshuang. Looking at Ji Wen's injury, the 3rd Palace Lord immediately frowned. She took out a pill and gave it to Ji Wen. Before Ji Wen could thank her, the 3rd Palace Lord turned to Yimo greet 3rd Palace Lord. Yimo saluted with his fists and asked, why did you barge into our Ice God Palace territory and injure my Ice God Palace sect member? The 3rd Palace Lord's tone was as cold as Ji Wen's. Yimo was very annoyed. Did this place produce ice people? Why did they speak in the same tone? Regardless if this place is your Ice God Palace, I have no ill intention here. I just came to visit the 3 Palace Lord and bring a message for Ice God Palace. Yet your sect members has no manners. The first sect member at least said something, but the second one didn't even ask anything and attacked. I already gave you huge face by not killing her. Yimo said with annoyance. 3rd Palace Lord sneered, what a huge face. Then, her force suddenly rose. The nearby icy space seemed to be swept by her domain. Her domain had terrifying frosty killing Kai. The nearby sect members all retreated. They knew the terror of the 3rd Palace Lord. Shadowless glanced at Yimo and seeing his boss annoyed he immediately called, a mere Immortal Emperor primary stage dares to be cocky, you're not taking the respect we're giving you, I'll eat. Shadowless opened his mouth and the immortal emperor domain was instantly bit open. At the same time, third palace lord's face changed. Before she could release her magic artifact, Shadowless sucked and her domain completely disappeared. Shadowless chewed a few times before moaning, "This domain is so shit, it's far weaker than Chu Chen Divine Emperor's domain and even Wei Yifeng Grand Emperor's domain. This isn't satisfying." Yimo stared at Shadowless with his jaws open. When did this guy know how to bluff like this? Since when did he bite Chu Chen Divine Emperor's domain? Plus, Chu Chen Divine Emperor was probably weaker than Wei Yifeng Grand Emperor now. Yimo wasn't going to call Shadowless out of course. Yimo wasn't going to call Shadowless out of course. The third palace lord saw her domain didn't even bring up the corner of Yimo's clothes and was devoured by Yimo's pet. This Yimo didn't even move nor release magic artifact. A pet that could devour immortal emperor domain was already shocking enough, but now this pet said her domain was too weak and was weaker than Chu Chen Divine Emperor and Wei Yifeng Grand Emperor. Of course she had heard of these two. Chu Chen Divine Emperor was a legendary powerful being. She didn't expect he was still alive and the two fought. She had seen Wei Yifeng Grand Emperor. They wouldn't say such things if they weren't truly able to take Wei Yifeng on. "Boss, should we invade first?" Shadowless saw that his words shocked an immortal emperor and immediately said gloatingly. Yimo knew that these things shouldn't go over the line, so he yelled, "Shut up." The third palace lord didn't have the force with which she came with. She made an extremely simple bow to Yimo. "Immortal friend, why did you charge into our ice god palace?" Yimo knew that this palace lord didn't dare to use force after seeing his power. Yimo didn't keep abusing her since Nai Shuang was still in her. He saluted with his fists and said, "I already said that I came to visit Ice God Palace to visit the three palace lords and to bring a message for someone. That's all, but your way of hospitality isn't polite at all. So that's it, I'm the third palace lord Yu Shu. Sorry for my rudeness. This way please, immortal friend Yi." The third palace lord changed her manners as though she was truly sorry after knowing why Yimo came here. Yimo knew that this couldn't be it. He sound transmissioned to Shadowless and let Shadowless be wary. Who knew if there would traps laid out for that? Jiwen was taken care of by someone. Yimo and Shadowless followed the third palace lord and crossed many ice peaks but still didn't see Ice God Palace. On the way, Yimo's spirit sense scanned all sorts of restrictions and stealth formations. He didn't know what was inside, but he had less good feelings towards the Ice God Palace. Another 5 minutes later, a huge black ice door appeared before Yimo. 3 words floated above the door, "Ice God Palace." Ice God Palace smiled to Yimo, "Immortal friend Yi, the Ice God Palace is here, please go in." Yimo went in the door with Shadowless without hesitation. He knew there was some problems with the way they were taken here, but he wasn't scared. When Jiwen asked for help, the third palace lord soon arrived there, but now, it took more than 15 minutes to get here. Yimo didn't know if the place here was the real Ice God Palace as there were spirit sense restrictions everywhere. His spirit sense couldn't reach further. Although Yimo's spirit sense god art could easily break in, he didn't do this. He was still a guest here. If he broke the restrictions, he would be offending them. Moments later, the third palace lord brought Yimo to a round hall. Seeing Yimo come in, a wealthy-looking lady sitting inside came up. "Su Lian, welcome immortal friend Yi to the Ice God Palace." This wealthy lady came up and bowed. "Palace lord." Third palace lord bowed to this woman and said to Yimo, "Immortal friend Yi, she's our big palace lord." Yimo returned the gesture. He knew the Ice God Palace was prepared. He didn't even speak and the big palace lord knew his name. This big palace lord seemed much more lively than the third palace lord. Her cultivation level was also far higher. She was immortal emperor tertiary stage. This hall was very round, but other than the big palace lord and the third palace lord, there was only some bland tasting immortal tea. It was a far cry from ethereal immortal ponds welcome to him. Although the two were rather polite, Yimo felt a sliver of discomfort. He cancelled the thought of telling them that he brought their small world over. He had decided to see Nai Shuang first. "Palace lords, I heard there's also a second palace lord of Ice God Palace, how come I don't see her?" Yimo asked. The big palace lord frowned, but this action immediately faded. She smiled and said, Martial sister Tan Yarrow is still in solitary cultivation. What matter did immortal friend Yi come to Ice God Palace for? I heard you say you were here to deliver a message to Ice God Palace. What message is it? Oh, I mainly came here to see Nai Shuang. Is she all right now? Yimo didn't want to say anything before he saw Nai Shuang. Nai Shuang? The big palace lord repeated in surprise. She had never really expected Yimo to come to see Nai Shuang. Immortal friend Yi knows Shuang? Third palace lord asked in surprise. Yimo got up and saluted with his fists. That's right, Shuang is my friend and we come from the same place. I came to find here. If she's here then please call her over. Martial sister Are You Shu, stay with immortal friend Yi here, I'll bring Shuang over. Unexpectedly, the big palace lord didn't reject at all and got up. It seemed Shuang had some status here. Otherwise, the big palace lord wouldn't go to call her over personally. Yimo eased up and sat down while saluted with his fists to big palace lord. After the palace lord left, the third palace lord was more hospitable to Yimo. Unlike how she didn't want to talk before, she kept asking Yimo all sorts of questions. But soon Yimo found that her questions were a bit strange. She didn't ask where he came from nor how he knew Shuang nor how he knew Shuang was here. She asked about how Yimo crossed the Qing Wei Abyssal River and what he saw on the way. She would ask every detail. 5 minutes later, Yimo still didn't see Big Palace Lord bring Shuang over. He was confused. The Ice God Palace only needed a few minchus to bring someone over. 15 minutes later, Yimo suddenly got up. No matter how hospitable third palace lord was, he didn't want to keep waiting. At this moment, Yimo heard Nai Shuang's shaky and joyful voice. Is that Brother Yi? Yimo looked up and saw Nai Shuang standing at the door with teary eyes. The big palace lord wasn't by her. She wore a faint green dress just like when they first went on a date. The third palace lord got up and said softly, Immortal friend Yi, please talk to Shuang, I'll leave for a moment. Shadowless seemed to know it shouldn't stay here and went into the golden page world. Brother Yi, it's your immortal pet. Nai Shuang noticed Shadowless. Yimo quickly said, no need to mind him. Shuang, it's only been 100 years and your golden immortal primary stage. How did you cultivate so quickly? When Yimo brought her into the immortal realm, she was only an ordinary Kai-gathering cultivator. Brother Yi, if it wasn't for you, Shuang would have been dead already. I didn't expect I would be able to see you again in my lifetime. Shuang couldn't resist sniffing. Yimo felt a little wrong. He couldn't feel what was wrong, but he felt that his reunion with her shouldn't feel like this. He didn't feel any happiness seeing her again. Shuang, give me your wrist. Yimo went up and grabbed her wrist. He really wanted to know if she was the real Nai Shuang and if there were some sort of restrictions on her. Nai Shuang had been in the Golden Page world for all these years. Yimo was used to her Kai already. After running his immortal essence in Nai Shuang's body, he immediately knew this was the real Nai Shuang and she had no restrictions. Yimo breathed easy. Shuang, what was the situation at the time? Nai Shuang looked around carefully and suddenly sound transmissioned to Yimo. Will you take me away later? Yes, Shuang, I don't feel this place is good. I really don't like this place. I don't want you to keep staying here, so I want to take you away. Yimo said. Nai Shuang breathed easy. After we leave here I'll tell you. All these things that happened is hard to say in a few words. But I'm happy to see you again here. No, Shuang, you were frozen by the shadowless worm to save me. Thinking about this, Yimo wanted to ask about her shadowless worm but was pulled by Nai Shuang. Let's talk in my room, I don't like it here. Nai Shuang's place wasn't small. There was a garden. Her cultivation room was separated with her sleeping room. Nai Shuang's bedroom was simple but elegant. Yimo liked it this way. It seemed more real. Nai Shuang's place wasn't small. There was a garden. Her cultivation room was separated with her sleeping room. Nai Shuang's bedroom was simple but elegant. Yimo liked it this way. It seemed more real. Nai Shuang Shuang poured a cup for Yimo and sat down too. Shuang Shuang, you seem to have something on your mind. Yimo felt Nai Shuang Shuang wasn't right. No. Nai Shuang Shuang shook her head. I've lived here for 100 years. My master is very nice to me and she's still in solitary cultivation. Thinking about how I'm about to leave her and the Ice God Palace, I'm a bit sad. Suddenly, Nai Shuang Shuang seemed to have thought of the past and sighed. Brother Yi, do you still remember my first pet Luan Luan? I actually miss it a bit. I love reminiscing the past. Brother Yi, it's just like the first time I saw you. I feel this serenity on you. I like that feeling. I'm even thinking if many things were like the past I would be very happy. Yimo quickly interrupted her. Shuang Shuang, don't bring up the past. I'll take you to leave this place. This isn't a good place. I'll take you to a better place with many friends. Brother Yi, I don't want to stay here too. Nai Shuang Shuang nodded and suddenly asked in confusion, Brother Yi, you said I was only a Kai-gathering cultivator before. How did you bring me to the immortal realm? It's luck. Yimo hesitated and said, Shuang Shuang, I'll tell you after we go out, it's nothing amazing. Nai Shuang Shuang nodded obediently. Okay. Brother Yi, what's your current cultivation level? I've never seen the big palace lord and third palace lord greet a man at the same time. Yimo didn't hide it. I had some fortune, so my cultivation speed is fast, but it's not as high as your palace lords. It's mainly because my pet is strong and likes to bluff, that's why the two palace lord are concerned. Nai Shuang Shuang was only golden immortal primary stage. Yimo didn't want to say his cultivation level in case she felt the difference was too huge. Is it the dragon horse with wings? Nai Shuang Shuang asked in surprise and joy. Yimo felt more and more uncomfortable. He felt this wasn't the words he wanted to talk with Nai Shuang Shuang now. However, he still nodded. Yes, by the way, Shuang Shuang, where is your shadowless worm? Yimo knew that shadowless needed too much resources to grow. Even if Nai Shuang Shuang was in the Ice God Palace, she might not be able to feed it. He asked this to find a way to help her feed it. I've kept it somewhere. I'll go get it. Brother Yi, thank you for bringing me to the immortal realm. Nai Shuang Shuang thanked again. Yimo frowned. Shuang Shuang, you don't need to be so polite. If you didn't save me with your life, I would be dead already. What I did for you is nothing. Nai Shuang Shuang's eyes went red and she sobbed. No, Brother Yi, I pretty much did nothing. Before meeting you, I only knew loneliness. After knowing you, I had friends. I'm forever grateful to you. This was the first time Yimo sensed Nai Shuang Shuang's real emotions coming here. He reproached himself for thinking so much. He quickly got up and said, Shuang Shuang, let's not talk about this. We'll talk about this after we leave. Brother Yi, this is my bedroom. Wait for me a bit, I'll be back soon. Nai Shuang Shuang left with a red face and closed the door after leaving. Yimo sat in her room and felt a little unnatural. This room was hers, but he had this strange feeling. If this wasn't Nai Shuang Shuang's bedroom, Yimo's spirit sense would have scanned out carefully. Nai Shuang Shuang had been in his golden page world for many years. It should be fine if he checked, right? Yimo scanned his spirit sense and immediately got up. This was indeed a bedroom, but everything inside had never been used. Yimo's spirit sense scanned out and found his spirit sense was blocked by the door. Without hesitation, Yimo dashed to the door and pulled the handle. Brother Yi, sorry, you saved me a few times and I only saved you once. But this time, I'm going to take it back. I'm really sorry. I have no other way. You really shouldn't have come to find me. You already touched the bottom line of our Ice God Palace. You can leave, rest assured. If one day I can go back to Earth, I will build a tomb for you. Because, I truly like you. People eventually change. I changed. Brother Yi, I'm sorry. Nai Shuang Shuang's voice stopped as the huge cracking sounds enveloped her voice. Yimo found this place was completely sealed by all sorts of restrictions. He couldn't break free at all. At the same time, an extremely terrifying frost smashed down. It was hundreds of times more terrifying than the ice forest. As soon as Yimo scanned his spirit sense out, it was freezed cracking and there was this pain in his sea of consciousness. In that instant, Yimo knew that regardless if he could break this formation or not, if he stayed here, he would die. Even an immortal Emperor peak stage with immortal god body tertiary stage wouldn't necessarily be able to resist this coldness. The Ice God Palace was too scary, they could mobilize such terrifying cold. Even spirit sense wouldn't be able to move in this cold, much less body. Yimo went into the Golden Page world without hesitation. This was with him being immortal god body middle stage power. If his body refinement was a little lower, he wouldn't even have time to go into the Golden Page world. In the Golden Page world, Yimo wasn't angry at all. It was just as Nai Shuangxuang said, she saved him once and now took it back. Yimo was someone who valued emotions. He came over just for Nai Shuangxuang but was ambushed by her. There was only disappointment coming from the bottom of his heart. People would eventually change. Perhaps Nai Shuangxuang's words were true, but Yimo found that he had never changed from the start to the end. He didn't know why Nai Shuangxuang did this. He checked her and knew she wasn't being controlled. Even if she wanted to stay in the Ice God Palace, she didn't have to kill him. Yimo carefully reached his spirit sense out, and as soon as it left the Golden Page world, it was turned to nothing by that terrifying cold. He could only feel that the Golden Page world was brought into the depth of the earth by this cold. A few days later, Yimo felt the Golden Page world had stopped before he scanned his spirit sense out. The cold was much better than before, but he still couldn't send his spirit sense out for long. Yimo knew that he didn't have to go out now, he only needed to wait. Even the formation builder wouldn't be able to see inside. Yimo believed that no one in the Ice God Palace now had the power to set up such formation. It was definitely left behind from ancient times or just used by the Ice God Palace people. He suspected he didn't even go into the Ice God Palace. Shadowless didn't dare to speak after knowing that boss was ambushed, so he went to small ginseng to research the wine. After knowing now wasn't a good time to go out, Yimo took out the time formation disc and started spirit controlling those few bone arrows and the other short dagger. In a palace within the Ice God Palace, the big palace lord, third palace lord and Nai Shuangxuang sat together. Shuangxuang, do you like that, Yimo? Third palace lord suddenly asked. Nai Shuangxuang quickly bowed yes. When I was in the mortal realm I liked him, but that was a long time ago. Third Palace Lord nodded that Yimo is rather devoted in Yimo to find it all the way here. His cultivation level isn't high, but his immortal pet is good. After 49 years and the formation opens, if his immortal pet is still there you can take it. The big Palace Lord added Shuangxuang, you will be reaching the highest divine emperor in the future. Our Ice God Palace will never stay in one corner. You saw your own past life, you know the path you need to take. Let go of what needs to be let go. It might be hard at first, but you will cherish your decision in the future. You did very well now. Shuangxuang will remember the two Palace Lords' teachings. Nai Shuangxuang quickly said. The big Palace Lord sighed. Shuangxuang, you don't need to be so polite in front of us. Your origin isn't simple, your future won't be simple either. As though seeing Nai Shuangxuang's eyes seemed a bit dim, Big Palace Lord stopped and said softly, Shuangxuang, go rest first, I have some things to discuss with Third Palace Lord. After Nai Shuangxuang left, Third Palace Lord said in confusion, Martial sister, Shuangxuang said she forgot to ask Yimo about the shadowless worm, this. After Nai Shuangxuang left, Third Palace Lord said in confusion, Martial sister, Shuangxuang said she forgot to ask Yimo about the shadowless worm, this. Big Palace Lord sighed. Shuangxuang is having a hard time. Her Dao heart isn't firm. After all, Yimo was someone she liked and now she killed him personally. Although it would benefit her in the future, she can't let go yet. As for shadowless worm, she intentionally didn't ask. After all, she met with Yimo due to it. Martial sister, what do you feel is that Yimo's cultivation level? The big Palace Lord asked again. Third Palace Lord thought for a moment and said, Martial sister, that Yimo's power is no lower than yours. He came from the Qing Wei Abyssal River. He definitely saw the secret of the Ice God Palace. We mustn't be merciful to such a person. I've never seen someone who could cross the Qing Wei Abyssal River, but this person could. Plus, if what Shuangxuang said is true, I really can't imagine how he reached Immortal Emperor in such a short time. There definitely is a huge secret on him. I believe since he fought with Wei Feng Grand Emperor, he would be famous in the immortal realm. We only need to send someone out to investigate. That works. The big palace lord nodded. No matter how big his secret is, when the ice god formation opens, it will belong to us. Half a month later, Yimo refined the third bone arrow to the 48th restriction. Then he breathed easier. The third arrow was harder than the previous two combined. When he spirit controlled it to the 48th level of restriction, Yimo felt that the third arrow was much stronger than the first two arrows. If he spirit controlled all 108 levels of restriction, Yimo suspected that 3 consecutive arrows might even take out a divine emperor. He carefully put the 3 arrows away and then spirit controlled that dagger. Afterward, he found out that the name of the dagger was Melt Space. Other than that, he really didn't find any use for it. Yimo scanned his spirit sense out of the golden page world again. He found that coldness had become much weaker. Yimo didn't hesitate anymore and left the golden page world. The bone-piercing cold instantly turned his clothes into nothing. Yimo was shocked. Even his immortal god body middle stage body was shaking under this coldness. This coldness guarantee something flames could stop. Yimo used his body refinement cultivation method and took out formation flags made with top-level materials. In order to leave this space, he had to find a way to break the formation door. This took time, so he needed to set up a place he could stay. The Golden Page world was safe, but he couldn't leave the formation. Yimo's formation skills were beyond level 8 Immortal Formation Grand Master. In half a day's time, Yimo set up a frost barrier formation and the nearby coldness immediately weakened. Then, he put on a new set of clothes. Yimo thought that with his formation skills and deriving capabilities, he would be able to leave here if he settled his mind. But when Yimo derived this formation for half a month and had zero clue, he realized he was too optimistic. Yimo even called out Small Ginseng. Small Ginseng only recognized it was a natural attack formation. One could only wait till the formation opened up naturally. Yimo knew this too, but he didn't know when it would open and he didn't want to wait here. A few months passed and he still didn't open this formation. Yimo became worried. He suddenly thought of the blue bead small world in the Golden Page world. If he had the slightest respect for Ice God Palace before, it was all gone now. He took out the small world and started to spirit control it. With his immortal monarch peak power, it didn't take much time. In just half a day, he completely spirit controlled this small world. The inside of the world clearly imprinted in Yimo's spirit sense. Yimo went into the small world without hesitation. The small world wasn't big, only 1,000-kilometer radius. There was blue mountains and lush green waters. The immortal spirit Kai here was also extremely dense. There was a row of exquisite houses in the most obvious place in the small world. Amongst the houses, there was a 1-kilometer tall tree. It was the tree Yimo found in the Ice God Forbidden Grounds. There was a black ice bed at the tree roots and on the bed was Qing Ayu. After all these years, Yimo was still shocked by Qing Ayu's beauty upon seeing her. She was too beautiful. Zhen Bingyu and Luo Ying's beauty could make people feel close, but her beauty didn't seem real. Even after laying here for all these years, her body was still the best Yimo had seen. The only one who could match her was Zhen Bingyu, but that was after Zhen Bingyu cultivated body refinement. This woman probably naturally had this perfect body. Yimo put a Heaven Heart Soul Recovery pill in her mouth. Yimo was the only one who had the pill recipe. This was the top level 9 immortal pill he made with Darkweed, level 9 immortal spirit herb Hai Tianlan and Yin Blue Plum. If the essence spirit was still alive, the pill could save the person. Yimo was certain Qing Ayu's soul hadn't disappeared. As long as she had a sliver of soul, he could save her and ask what this formation was. The pill immediately melted in Qing Ayu's mouth. Yimo soon felt many immortal spirit Kai insert into Qing Ayu's body. Indeed, in less than half a day, Qing Ayu opened her eyes. She seemed a little confused and looked around before sitting up. Soon, she realized this was her small world and breathed easy. But when she saw Yimo not far from her, she landed on the ground in shock. Who are you? Why are you in my small world? Qing Yu asked without hesitation. Yimo said plainly, it's not important who I am, what's important is who are you. Yimo was actually shocked when the woman woke up. Her cultivation level seemed a little too low. She was only abstruse immortal primary stage. How did she get to the cultivation realm? I'm Qing Yu. Qing Yu said and then frowned. She immediately said in shock, I remember, you're the person I asked to take me away? That's right, I took you away from that place. Yimo nodded. Thank you. Qing Yu quickly bowed and didn't blame why Yimo was in her small world. She could feel her small world had been spirit-controlled by Yimo. May I ask, Martial Brother, where is this place? Qing Yu scanned her spirit sense out and could only feel coldness and a very sophisticated formation. Ice God Palace. Yimo answered. Qing Yu's face showed a surprise and joyful expression completely different to her sad look before. You really took me to Ice God Palace? I want to see Ice God Palace, Palace Lord. Qing Yu said and then realized she was too desperate and said to Yimo, sorry, I'm too desperate. She didn't even ask how Yimo came to the immortal realm nor Yimo's name. Yimo sneered, I was planning to take you to see the big Palace Lord and I indeed saw her. But before I can take you out, I was ambushed by your big Palace Lord and third Palace Lord. I'm trapped by an extremely cold formation. What? Qing Yu called out in shock, this is impossible, impossible. Yimo ignored her and took out her of the small world before pointing outside, impossible? Have a look at yourself. Ice God formation. Qing Yu murmured to herself. What is Ice God formation? Yimo saw that Qing Yu actually knew this formation and quickly asked with hope. He used his level 9 immortal pill, right? What is Ice God formation? Yimo saw that Qing Yu actually knew this formation and quickly asked with hope. He used his level 9 immortal pill, right? Qing Yu said seriously, it's the number formation of the Ice God Palace. Even if a divine emperor comes, he would be trapped by the Ice God formation. What atrocity did you do in the Ice God Palace? Otherwise the big Palace Lord would definitely not use such means against you. Bullshit. Yimo yelled in fury. I brought you back to Ice God Palace in goodwill. The old farts of Ice God Palace didn't thank me and instead ambushed me. What atrocity. I didn't even touch a small grass of Ice God Palace. Then Yimo added in his heart, I didn't break the mountain. Hearing Yimo's words were coarse, Qing Yu frowned immediately. She remembered she was heavily injured, how could she suddenly wake up? Thinking about this, she immediately asked, you saved me? Yimo sneered, what do you think? I used all my fortune to get a level 9 immortal pill and I used it to save you. Yet your Ice God Palace tries to kill me. Yimo felt he was becoming more and more like Shadowless. If it was Shadowless, he would probably say that from beginning to now, he had used all his time to gather immortal crystals to buy this pill. Qing Yu seemed to be someone easy to talk to. If he could get on her side, she might be able to tell him a way out. Wait, it's not right. Qing Yu didn't become all grateful to Yimo due to his words. She just woke up and there were a lot of things she didn't think. Now her brain was slowly away and she remembered, how could Yimo be fine after the Ice God Palace activated the Ice God formation? Even her small world was fine. This didn't make sense. Even a small world can't resist the force of the formation. She knows how long she had been asleep. Even if Yimo ascended when she fell asleep, there was no way he could cultivate to a stage to survive the Ice God formation. How did you block the Ice God formation? Qing Yu asked. Yimo sneered, that's my business, it has nothing to do with you. Your Ice God Palace owes me, not the other way around. Yimo felt this Qing Yu wasn't simple to be able to recognize the formation, but he desperately wanted to go out, so he didn't bother asking why she went to the cultivation realm and ended up in that situation. Regardless of who is right, the big Palace Lord won't casually use the formation against you. She's about to reach Tao Vindication Divine Emperor. How can she do that? Plus, the big Palace Lord is very nice, she would never treat someone who helped the Ice God Palace like that. Qing Yu shook her head. Yimo said in contempt, Tao Vindication Divine Emperor? Keep dreaming. How can someone like her reach Dao vindication? Qing Yu frowned and said, I can't see your cultivation level, you're probably much stronger than me. Otherwise, the Ice God Palace wouldn't use the Ice God formation against you. When I left the Immortal Realm to the Cultivation Realm, the big Palace Lord was already Immortal Emperor peak stage. There's no way that she hadn't improved after all these years. Yi Mo was confused. Was there something wrong with that big Palace Lord? He waved out an image. This is the big and third Palace Lord who attacked me. This. Qing Yu stared at the image in a daze. How could this be? This isn't your Ice God Palace people? Yi Mo asked. Qing Yu fell silent for a long while before saying, the big Palace Lord you said is the original second Palace Lord, not the big Palace Lord I mentioned. The third Palace Lord is a martial uncle of mine, I think. You think the original big Palace Lord is gone? How long had you left the Ice God Palace? Perhaps it's the second Palace Lord who harmed your big Palace Lord with others. Yi Mo said. Qing Yu shook her head. No, martial uncle Yu Shu is big Palace Lord's disciple. Su Lian Palace Lord respects big Palace Lord greatly. I believe something must have happened in the Ice God Palace all these years I wasn't here. Yi Mo frowned. You go deal with whatever happened in your Ice God Palace. I want to leave here. Do you have a way out? I brought you to the Ice God Palace and used my most precious pill to save you. I don't care about what the Ice God Palace did to me, nor do I want any relations with them. If possible, I just want to leave. Yi Mo didn't want to stay here. He didn't like this place. Although Nai Shuang saved him once and he wouldn't kill her, he didn't want to have anything to do with her. Qing Yu bowed to Yi Mo again. Sorry, no matter who you are, you saved me. I have a way out. I haven't asked for your name yet. Yi Mo waved his hand. Qing Yu didn't keep asking Yi Mo's name. She resisted the urge to ask how Yi Mo survived in the formation and how he cultivated so quickly. She didn't know why the Ice God Palace used such formation against Yi Mo, but she could feel Yi Mo wasn't the evil man she thought. Qing Yu didn't lie. With her explanation, Yi Mo immediately realized why he couldn't go out. The formation was no ordinary formation. It was a top natural Ice God trap formation. It could be activated by cultivators. If outsiders didn't understand the theory behind the formation, then the formation flags they made would be useless. Only two people could release the formation according to Qing Yu. The original Big Palace Lord and her. The reason they could release it wasn't because their formation skills were high, but because they had a formation flag to leave this natural formation. The formation was a natural formation, and the two natural formation flags were called yin-yang formation flags. It was born with the formation. Either flag could be used to leave the formation, but if one wanted to come in from an activated formation, they needed both flags. Now that Qing Yu had the yin flag, she could take Yi Mo out of the formation. This was countless times easier than Yi Mo had imagined. From this, Yi Mo could see that when Qing Yu left the Ice God Palace, she had very high status here. Coming back to the snowy landscape, Yi Mo sighed. A few months ago, he was worried about Nai Shuang, but now, he just wanted to leave this place. He had never thought of annihilating the Ice God Palace. He could tell Nai Shuang's status wasn't low here. If Nai Shuang didn't kill him, then she would never activate this formation. Or it was that she couldn't stop the two Palace Lords from wanting to detonate this formation. Nai Shuang could have hinted him, but she didn't even do that. This completely disappointed Yi Mo. The exit to Ice God Palace is very hidden. I'll take you out, otherwise you would never be able to find the exit. Qing Yu saw Yi Mo was a bit sad and said. Yi Mo laughed dejectedly. No need, thanks for bringing me out. I saved you and you saved me. We don't owe each other. Go back to your Ice God Palace. Don't worry about me getting revenge, I never thought about it. Qing Yu smiled sweetly. Thank you, I don't know your name but I believe you. I won't go back to the Ice God Palace now, I need to find my master. She isn't in the Ice God Palace. Since you can talk about revenge on the Ice God Palace, I believe your cultivation level must be very high. If you don't want to leave with me, can you lend me a flying magic artifact? No problem. Yi Mo had plenty of extreme grade flying immortal artifacts. He subconsciously took out a ring and stared at the storage ring for a long time before suddenly taking out an exquisite flying ship to Ching Are You can have this, goodbye. Then Yimo disappeared. Ching Are You dazed at the flying magic artifact Yimo gave her. It was such an exquisite flying ship and Yimo just gave it to her. This ship was also an extreme grade immortal artifact. There was such a generous person in this world. Thinking about how Yimo gave her a level 9 immortal pill, she believed Yimo was such a generous person. She immediately found a hidden place to spirit control this immortal ship. A few days later, she spirit controlled the ship and saw there was a small row of words Shuang's immortal ship. Shuang's flying ship? Who was Shuang? She didn't know that the entire storage ring was prepared for Nai Shuang. Now that Yimo was so disappointed. He gave away this specially made flying ship to Ching Are You. Leaving this flying ship was too sad. He might as well give it away. Shuang's flying ship? Who was Shuang? She didn't know that the entire storage ring was prepared for Nai Shuang. Now that Yimo was so disappointed. He gave away this specially made flying ship to Ching Are You. Leaving this flying ship was too sad. He might as well give it away. Of course Yimo knew how to leave Ice God Palace. He came by the Qing Wei Abyssal River and now he would leave that way too. When Yimo came back to that icy mountain range, he saw Nai Shuang again. She stood before a white icy grave and seemed to be murmuring. Yimo immediately flew over. With his current cultivation level, even if he stood before her, she wouldn't be able to notice him. There was a stone tablet on the grave with the words, Yimo's grave. Brother Yi, I really hoped you didn't come here. If you didn't, no one would know you existed and we would forget each other. I would definitely not go find you. Maybe this is just what I wanted, but you came to the Ice God Palace. I don't know who brought you here, but when I do I will kill her and get revenge for you. Today is your anniversary. I came to bring you a cup of wine. I won't be coming back again. Perhaps, this is good. My mortal Tao is severed. There's nothing left to reminisce. Goodbye. Then, Nai Shuang poured that cup of wine on the tomb before turning to leave. Moments later, she disappeared from Yimo's sight. Yimo suddenly had this sadness in his heart. There was some misunderstanding when he first met but later, he knew that her nature was good. But what she did now completely confused him. Clearly she tried to kill him but she wanted to kill someone else to get revenge for him. Such people could always find an excuse for themselves. If it was some other woman who wanted his life like that, Yimo would have killed her without hesitation, but for Nai Shuang, he didn't have any intentions to kill her. She could be ruthless but he couldn't do the same as her. Just as she said, just forget each other. Yimo walked up to that tombstone and left 3 lines of words. Before, I wanted to live with you but that was an extravagant wish. Later I want to forget you but it is still an extravagant wish. Now, we're separated by yin and yang. Yimo kicked and the ice tomb was kicked to oblivion. He then threw out Shadowless and said, Shadowless, speed up and row the boat on the Abyssal River, we're going back. 7 days later, Yimo crossed the Abyssal River and came to the riverbank. Yimo spent these 7 days in cultivation. He needed power. If he didn't reach Immortal Emperor, he would be lacking on foundation even if he had power rivaling Immortal Emperor. The riverbank was still the same. Yimo had crossed the river twice and been to the Lightning Kill Palace. His spirit sense wasn't just 1 kilometer like before, it was a few kilometer. Some body refinement immortals were still cultivating their bodies on the riverbanks while finding wine kill stone. The Junyang Hotel was still there. When Mai put away Shadowless and went into the hotel, there were still a few people sitting there drinking wine. However, Yimo didn't see Chu Chen Divine Emperor nor that old woman. Yimo was only Immortal King middle stage and when he walked in no one even looked at him. However, Junyang was startled off her seat and quickly walked out and bowed. Junyang, greet immortal friend Yi. The immortal kings and immortal monarchs drinking were dazed. They had been here for countless years but had never seen Junyang leave the counter to greet someone. There were a few immortal emperors here but even if they came she only politely saluted with her fists. Who was this youth to allow her to come out and greet? Emo didn't mind. She was close to Chu Chen Divine Emperor. It would be strange if she wasn't scared of him. Get me 1 kettle or white wine and 2 bottles of black wine. Emo nodded and said. He told Small Ginseng to produce wine, but it had only been this long and Small Ginseng hadn't produced the wines yet. By the looks of it, Small Ginseng seemed very interested in Chu Chen Divine Emperor's other wine recipes. Who knows how long it would be before he could drink the wine made by Small Ginseng. Emo knew that there were much black wine, so he only asked for 2 bottles. Everyone dazed and looked at Emo in shock. They've been here for so long and seen people buy white wine, but that was in bottles. They've never seen people buy black wine. Now, an immortal king asked for a kettle of white wine and 2 bottles of black wine. However, what shocked them more was that Junyang took it out without hesitation and didn't even ask Emo for the wine killstones first. Emo was used to eating first and then paying, so he took the white wine and drank. An extremely fierce killing intent filled his entire body. This killing intent was more than 10 times stronger than the blue wine. Before he even refined the killing intent and killing kai in the wine, a terrifying killing intent emitted from his body. The nearby immortal monarchs quickly used their cultivation method to block this. Good wine. Emo praised, and his contemptuous opinions of Chu Chen Divine Emperor were gone. To be able to make such wine, one's winemaking skills had to reach a new peak, as well as his understanding of killing intent and lethal force. Only then would you be able to turn the killing intent in the wine killstone into wine intent and allow the drinker to digest it. Small Ginseng didn't understand killing intent much. He probably couldn't make such wine. Seeing Emo drink a big gulp of the white wine, people were already very shocked, but then Emo tipped the entire kettle of white wine down. In that instant, there was only the sound of Emo drinking the wine. The dejected feeling of being ambushed by Nai Shuangshuang was completely melted in this wine. In that instance, Emo only felt the satisfaction of the killing intent in this wine. That killing kai soon swept Emo's entire body. Emo didn't even need to use 3 birth chant to refine it, and instead used his body refinement cultivation method to feel the lethal force and killing intent of the wine. The killing intent and wine intent spread. How could the immortal kings and immortal monarchs not realize Emo's power? They all moved back, fearing this sharp killing kai would hurt them. This is satisfying. A lot of the dejection in his eyes dissipated, and he finished the white wine. He put the wine kettle on the bar and took out the black wine and gulped. An extremely fierce lethal force swept his entire meridian. Even his sea of consciousness was ravaged by killing kai. This killing intent in the black wine was 10 times stronger than the white wine. Emo had never felt drunk ever since cultivation, but today he was feeling a bit tipsy. This time, he didn't finish the black wine in one go, but instead took out 100 white killstones and 20 black wine killstones and placed it on the counter, and then took the other bottle of black wine before saying in a tipsy tone, "Junyang, thank you for your wine. It's great. When Little Mud comes back, tell him that Emo welcomes him to come to." Emo walked out of the Junyang Hotel. Everyone saw Emo take out the wine killstones and realized that he wasn't going to drink free wine. He took out 100 white stones and 20 black stones in one go. Even immortal emperors might not be able to take out that many in one go. Junyang looked at Emo dazedly, but Emo already walked out of the hotel. Outside, a song came. The day before is gone. Happiness if more important than anything. The spilled water can't be taken back. Emo didn't know what song this was, but he remembered in the Beijing bar he was at with Nai Shuangshuang, the bar played this song. Using the murderous kai in the wine, Emo sang this song and melted the sadness in his heart. The song is bad, but the wine is good. A sudden voice woke Emo up a bit. Wrong, the song is good and the wine is too. Another voice sounded. Emo's tipsiness eased. The two came up to him and he didn't even realize. As he woke up from the wine, he felt his immortal essence release and his cultivation level finally reached immortal monarch peak stage. After Yemo's initial joy, he looked at these two people seriously. He was shocked that both of them were immortal emperor peak stage and he didn't know a single one of them. After Yemo's initial joy, he looked at these two people seriously. He was shocked that both of them were immortal emperor peak stage and he didn't know a single one of them. The one who said his song was good was a monk who bared his chest. There were massive beads hanging off his neck. Yimo scanned with his spirit sense. There seemed to be countless beads, but then later there only seemed to be a few. Yimo couldn't tell if the other person was a man or woman. Who dares to rebuke my words? So it's you again, old man wooing. Why didn't you stay at the Wujia Sound River? Ha ha. The monk stared at Yimo's wine bottle and said, your wine seems good, can I have a try? Du Feng monk, where I go is none of your business. If you mind your own business, I can give you a bottle after I kill this kid. Wuyin Immortal Emperor said. Yimo's eyes went cold. He didn't expect it was Wuyin Immortal Emperor. No wonder he was Immortal Emperor peak stage. He had come back from the void, then Feng Kong Grand Emperor was probably back. It seemed he really needed to break through to Immortal Emperor and kill this Wuyin before going after Feng Kong Grand Emperor. Yimo knew that Wuyin came just for him and worried about Beiwei and them. Meanwhile, the monk stared at Wuyin Immortal Emperor. Old man Wuyin, do you enjoy abusing people weaker than you? In the Ice Carrot Immortal City, you wanted to abuse a few little girls and I stopped you. Now you want to abuse an immortal king. Thank you Qian Bei for helping at Ice Carrot Immortal City. Yimo immediately walked up to that monk and bowed. Yimo knew that this monk stopped Wuyin Immortal Emperor from attacking Beiwei and them. I didn't even say it is, and you know those few girls. It seems there's the conflict between you guys. You don't need to thank me, just let me have a sip of the wine. It's Junyang black wine, right? I've always wanted to drink but I can't afford it. After I drink I'll help you fight. The monk stared at Yimo's wine and gulped. Wuyin Immortal Emperor sneered, Du Luo monk, I can give you face for other things but I must kill this person. He ruined my sect, took my immortal range and robbed my sect members. How can I not kill him? Hearing this, Du Luo monk frowned. If what Wuyin said was real, he really couldn't intervene. If he did, his Nanming Heaven Zen Temple would be death enemies with Wujia Sound River. You're quite bold to do such a thing. I guess you're not an immortal king. What is your cultivation? The old monk smiled at Yimo bitterly. He suspected he wouldn't be able to drink his wine today. Yimo took away his stealth cultivation method and showed his immortal monarch peak stage power. Thank you Dufeng Qianbei, but I don't need you to intervene. Old bastard Wuyin captured my wife. I'm long wanted to kill this half-woman half-man. Then, Yimo threw his other bottle of black wine to Du Feng monk. I have another bottle here, you can have it. Du Feng subconsciously took the black wine and asked in shock, you're a mere immortal monarch power and you want to kill Immortal Emperor peak stage Wuyin? Immortal monarch power? Yimo laughed. Soon I won't be immortal monarch power. I need to have my divine damnation and break through to Immortal Emperor. Please help protect me Du Feng monk and Wuyin old man. Then, Yimo glanced at Wuyin Immortal Emperor in contempt. What? You're going to break through to Immortal Emperor now? Here. Du Feng repeated in shock. Was this immortal monarch crazy? This was close to Qing Wei Abyssal River, there were murderous Kai everywhere. Breaking through to Immortal Emperor here was the most stupidest thing. Wuyin Immortal Emperor, who was about to attack, suddenly stopped. He had heard that although Yimo was an immortal monarch but could take on Wei Feng Grand Emperor. Although he didn't fear Wei Feng Grand Emperor, he couldn't beat him for sure. Now that Yimo wanted to have divine damnation for Immortal Emperor, this was the perfect opportunity. He guessed that Yimo wanted to break through to Immortal Emperor and then fight him. But if Yimo thought he had the opportunity to reach Immortal Emperor, he would be dreaming. If Immortal Emperor was this easy to break through to, then this entire world would be filled with immortal emperors. He was 70% certain that Yimo couldn't draw the divine damnation. If Yimo failed to reach Immortal Emperor, his cultivation level would drop 2 levels. Then, he would be able to easily kill him. Even if Yimo brought the Immortal Emperor divine damnation, so what? As soon as Yimo's divine damnation comes, he would attack. As for Immortal Emperor divine damnation, it was a joke to an Immortal Emperor tertiary stage peak. If Yimo thought he wouldn't dare to attack during his divine damnation, then Yimo would be a fool. Yimo knew what Wuyin Immortal Emperor thought. If Wuyin Immortal Emperor thought his divine damnation would be an ordinary Immortal Emperor divine damnation, then he would have quite some trouble. Yimo was certain that even an immortal emperor peak stage wouldn't be able to safely survive his immortal emperor divine damnation. Yimo threw out a few extreme-grade immortal ranges and then casually set up a spirit-gathering immortal formation. Then he drank all of his black bottle. Du Feng monk stared at Yimo's empty black bottle in shock. He was more shocked about Yimo finishing that in one go than Yimo throwing out a few extreme-grade immortal ranges. Although he hadn't had Junyang black wine before, he had long heard of it. Even the most powerful body refinement immortal or someone who has deep knowledge of killing intent can only drink one mouthful at a time. Seeing Yimo throw his bottle out, Du Feng monk stared at his black bottle and then raised it, drinking a big mouthful. The terrifying killing intent and killing kai instantly filled his sea of consciousness and meridians. The uncontrollable feeling of being torn apart shocked Du Feng monk. He even suspected Yimo didn't drink the real black wine and gave him the real one. He didn't have time to ask Yimo. If he didn't use this time to calm it down, the killing intent would tear open his sea of consciousness. Yimo didn't have it easy either. One bottle of black wine was terrifying. Wuyin stared at Yimo. Du Feng was in trouble himself. When Yimo failed divine damnation, he could easily kill Yimo. As the three-birth chant ran, the immortal spirit kai of the extreme-grade immortal range was swept away by Yimo. Wuyin immortal emperor was shocked at which the speed and power Yimo devoured immortal spirit kai. He made up his mind to kill Yimo this time. Yimo must not be allowed to reach immortal emperor. If Yimo reached immortal emperor, he wouldn't even be able to retaliate. A day later, Du Luo monk spirit controlled the black wine and felt its benefits. He forgot that Yimo was still having a divine damnation and drank another mouthful. This was a wine he truly liked. The sky went dark and a rumbling sound exploded in the sky. Wuyin immortal emperor was a bit dazed. He didn't expect Yimo to really bring the divine damnation, but he cast this aside and secretly released his magic artifact. As soon as the divine damnation came, he would attack. Yimo's mind was completely focused on the divine damnation. Like Du Feng monk, he had already forgotten about Wuyin immortal emperor. He ate a Tai Wei emperor return pill. The powerful pill energy mixed with the black wine energy as well as the immortal spirit kai and charged at that immortal emperor barrier. You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.